Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the GT3 Endurance Series, brought to you by Premier Endurance League. On your Sunday night here for 2 hours around Road Atlanta. A couple weeks ago, the Limited Series got their opportunity to get out there, and it was wild, to say the least. Now, it's the big boys' turn. Who is going to come out here, rattle it off, and take pole position? Well, it's actually going to be a small amount of a surprise because there's been some pace this week, as usual, from the front too, but it's the couple guys that have been going with them, and it's going to be an interesting race. I have a sneaking suspicion. So for 2 hours and standing atop the pile at the end of qualifying, Zach Rattray White manages to nick one in the Mustang over teammate Damon Woods. Dean Mackay has managed to come away in third. That's going to be your top three, but we'll get through the entirety of the qualifying results here shortly. A couple new entries to the series as well, which we'll also get an opportunity to talk about. But good news, Pete Baxter, is it is time to go racing at Road Atlanta. And like we said 2 weeks ago, this was on for a brilliant race back then.
Wow, Scotty, absolutely great to be here. Road Atlanta, one of iRacing's best tracks in my view. And I think I've said this to you before. It was the first track I ever got thrown into an endurance race. Right, and 30 minutes before that endurance race, I had to download the track and learn it. So for me, it holds a special meaning. We did finish that race, my mate Steve and I, but a special track, lots of ups and downs, lots of really tricky sections, some long sections, some tight sections, but that corner down the back actually makes a difference. Talk through the track and then come back to me, mate, and we'll talk about field street.
Yeah, it is a short and sharp layout here, and the debate will always rage as to what is a corner name, what is a corner number, what's a flag marshal post, and is a satisfactory corner number. That is a debate that rages on to the end of time. 12 corners labelled on the track map here for the 4.088 kilometers of the circuit here in Braselton, Georgia. Opened in 1969, and this track was opened in a right royal hurry. They needed an extra track in America. This one was thrown together really, really, really quickly and open, and then some upgrades came through to keep it moving on. Now it's plays host to the Petit Le Mans event that finishes the series for IMSA at the back end of the year. 10 hours worth of endurance racing action. That's been and done, which also means drivers have fresh setups available to them. 25 degrees Celsius out there in terms of track temperature at the moment. And this is what we're getting in. It's challenging through turn one, long and loaded, up and across the crest. At two, try and pick your braking point and your turn-in point for three. Really blind up and across the hill at three. Turn four down the hill, S's. You will have to manage a micro left through there to keep the rear end of the car underneath you. The S's miss the line on the current tyre model, and you are in trouble. Up and over the curbs at five as well. 6 and 7 uphill, and then it's down the back straight all the way down to 10A and 10B, probably the premium overtaking opportunity of the night. Managing the track is crucial. Lap times just under a 1:20 as well. In qualifying trim, right into the 1:16s. It is a very, very tight lap, quick as well, and it's rapid fire off. And Pete, the other thing is, as we get our way into this one, fuel limit tonight, 55%. What are we looking at in terms of the strategy?
Oh, look, I think was, if I remember rightly, it was 45% for the unlimited race and 55%. It's quite a small tank. So we're looking at 3-4 fuel stops tonight. And essentially, I'm just trying to crunch those numbers because I haven't got them because of what's happened for me this afternoon. But I'm going to get to those numbers. I think, Scotty, we're going to do lots of fuel tanks. But essentially, safety cars is a pit stop. And then what I'm going to do is, within a few minutes, I'm going to be able to give you a critical time that is going to be for the pit stop. And that critical time for the last race that we saw here was 23 minutes. And when I say 23 minutes, Scotty, that was absolute full tank to absolute zero tank, right? So that doesn't include that extra lap you might need if the lead is at the wrong sort of time sync for you. And we saw in the limited race that, I think there was about 5 cars ran out of fuel on that race. So I've got to come back to you with that time, make sure that that's absolutely spot on, because I think we're in for a blinder tonight. Multiple pit stops. It's keep fueling and throwing tyres at the cars until the point where you actually had that critical fuel stop. It ain't limited on tyres. You can either throw tyres and take the cold laps or keep tyres on for an extra session, double stint them and keep them warm. All good. So there's lots of those options, but I'm going to come back to you with the precise time as I keep working on those calcs now.
Right, well, we are 4 of the 5 minutes through our warm-up phase at the moment, so we're coming towards the back end of the session. And confirmation, it is new driver on pole position. Zach Rattray White will take one away here from the front row. 1 minute 16.440. It would be 3 thousandths of a second. That would separate the Eclipse Sim Sports teammates. Damon Woods at the moment representing the international team of Door Esports. Dean Mackay has been quick, as has Andrew Scoredillis of late. These two will go head-to-head. Scoredillis had a challenging start to the front end of his last couple of races. We'll see if he can work his way back through. He won't have to this time because he's right up at the point. Eric Fenson enters the series for Entropy, and he's qualified rather well up to the pointy end of things. Sam Sutton will be sitting there and looking at half a second away from pole position and going, well, there's a lot of work out there to be found. Adam Hughes and Mia Rose. Good to see Mia here entering the series as well. She is listed under ST Racing Esports, also a Red Bull women's racing driver as well for Mia, so she makes the absolute most of that one. Lachlan Capel will finish inside the top 10 in qualifying. 1/1000th of a second between his Ford Mustang and the Mercedes of Stuart Ellis. We'll move back on to row number 6. The first cars outside the top 10. Owen Coleman's Aston Martin will line up alongside of the Ferrari of Stefan McCartan. A little bit deeper in the field for these guys. Also 8/10ths back from that pole position time. Ethan Bass and Dan Yeaman will line up alongside of each other, and there'll probably be a little bit of communication about who gets the advantage into turn 1, because who got the advantage on the grid was 1/1000th of a second. That's right, ladies and gents. Short lap times means the grid is close. Matt Webber, though, will be just ahead of Austin Edwards. These guys nearly a second back from pole position time, and 9.94 is how far back Austin Edwards was, back to 16th spot. Matt Arnold will be the first one outside the 1 second barrier to pole position from Jared Knight in 17th and 18th. Jared's actually had a pretty good season in the limited series thus far, but not working so well here in the Open. Angus Lawford will be from Stuart Shaw inside of the 20. And we'll get back outside the 20. I believe we have ourselves 30 cars to get through in the GT3s here tonight. Adam Jepson from Brad Coates outside the 20 as well. Brad will probably not be too happy with that qualifying performance. He'll think there's a fair bit more in that car. Nathan Tapp from Trent Allen on board the Lamborghini. We'll hope that he can do a little bit better than Leith McClimate in his Lamborghini endeavours. And Vinnie Newen will line up alongside of Terry Marsh down towards the tail end of the field now. 1.7, 1.780 and 784 thousandths of a second behind. Then we get back to Dylan Shepherd, who will be the lone car on row number 14, before we get back to Leith McClimate, who will round out our 30. That is the 30 cars in operation here, ladies and gentlemen, for the race here this evening. And big shout out to everyone watching along at home. Hope you're all enjoying us. Hope you're all settling down into perhaps a dessert, although this track is indeed just desserts here tonight. Perfect track conditions, Pete.
Oh, it is. It's beautiful track conditions. It's like, I mean, there's no rain coming. It's dry. It's a 2-hour race. What more do you want as a race driver? A fabulous track, clean car, fresh tyres, lots of fuel. Actually, they don't have lots of fuel. They've got 55% of fuel tank. But enough fuel to go out, race some dudes, have some fun, and come back. And I'm looking at it, Scotty. I'm almost there with that critical time length. I'm going to get to you very, very shortly with that. But I tell you what, I'm really looking forward to this, because I think what we're going to see is. Actually, no, I'm not going to predict what we're going to see. I suspect we're going to get a safety car, one, maybe two. If you're smart, you just got to stay in it until sort of the last hour, probably the last 40 minutes, and then it's really strategy on and game on. So, anybody who does anything silly in the first sort of an hour is probably going overboard, to be honest.
Yeah, it's good to see as well. Mia Rose out there and participating. Got an opportunity to meet her back in 2024 down at the FIA F4 challenge. Sorry, it wasn't a part of the FIA F4 challenge. At that point in time, she was actually participating in Assetto Corsa. It was good to chat to her about all things, and since then I've been keeping in touch with her and how things have been going. She actually got to be part of a Women in Motorsport event, particularly for high-level sim racing women in the last year as well. Ended up over in Britain to go and participate and be a part of that trip. So it was really, really good to hear about. She is punching above her weight in terms of the international realm as well. So she's been one of the biggest parts of international female motorsport, which is awesome to hear that there is an Aussie at the top end of things. Righto, we're going to form our way up into our 2x2 formation. Safety car is going to come off. Zach Rattray-White is going to lead us to the green flag. And settle yourselves in, ladies and gents. 2 hours worth of racing. Like I said, if you need dessert, go and grab it right now, because Rattray-White has put the pedal to the metal. And we'll launch our way off. Not getting such a great start was Andrew Scordilis, and it's left him a little bit vulnerable. Fenson was going to have a go at him. But have a look at the Mustangs. The top 8 positions are just all Mustangs at this point in time. Adam Hughes is trying to have a lob up the inside. 3 wide as they run to the crest of the hill. At this point in time, Sam Sutton's on the outside. 3 wide into turn 3. They do get through there. Sutton's going to lose 2 spots to Hughes and Rose. Just barely. As they crawl down the hill. It's a +1 and -1 for Mia Rose on the opening lap. The front 5 make a bolt for it as they all had clear air.
Yeah, Scotty, it's absolutely great to see all of these cars come together. But I'll tell you what, this is none about what I said. Just settle in for this for 90-odd minutes and then work out the last straight. These guys are into it. There's already guys coming at contacting out of that hairpin down the end. It's on for young and old. Nobody's giving anything a go. So let's go.
Lap 1 of a scheduled approximately 90 or so, based upon how quickly we get through this one and whether or not there's safety car interventions at the moment. I can tell you Dan Yeaman is defending from Owen Coleman into the chicane. A little bit deeper in the field, didn't get drive out the other side. And he will have to go the long way around. Doesn't work out for him coming out of the final corner. Vice versa, the Aston Martin's in the field as well. For now, settling nicely into a rhythm. There is a car off. It's Stuart Ellis, I think, who just went off in the Mercedes at turn 1. So car not quite underneath him, and he's lost a few spots. Not looking like there's damage or any contact on that car as we wind our way up the hill.
So Scotty, I've got a question for you, mate.
Yep.
I said, we've seen Damon Woods absolutely dominate so far in the Open Series. Zach Rattray-White, had a good run last time. Who are you expecting to come out on top tonight?
Well, I reckon Damon's going to sit here, fuel save, and I reckon he's just going to overcut him at the pit stop. I think that's what it's going to come down to. So I don't think it's going to be even relatively all that close. But we will have to see, because he'll just be sitting there, he'll be watching, he'll be waiting, using every opportunity and every advantage that he personally has, and that's the problem. I mean, it's the easy pick, but it's the easy pick because of how quick he's been.
And to be honest, everybody who's watching this would say, hey, Damon Woods is out there and everybody else is racing for second. That goes on his I rating and everything. Yeah. But I've got to tell you, some of the other drivers, Dean Mackay, Zach Rattray-White, they're out there, they've been driving fast, and Yeah, what we don't know is we don't know that random factor of a safety car, and you've got to get it right at the time. So, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Eh?
Well, just keeping an eye on, again, we were looking at Mia Rose earlier on in the lap. The big thing I noticed from her was the handiwork that was going on at that point in time. There was a lot of slide catch, slide catch, slide catch, slide catch, which is generally not the way current generation GT3s like to go about it. At the moment, what it's provided is an opportunity for Dan Yeaman to try and get up the inside. He's got a lot of straight line speed on the pair of these guys. He's going to go past the Aston and give him a big old whack on the way through. He'll get past Rose as well. Clears the pair of them down to the chicane. Big send for Owen Coleman as well. So Rose was inside the 10, just now on the outside, and now there's going to be a queue of cars lining up. Something's happened to Mia Rose as well. She's immediately into pit lane. I don't see a penalty for her whatsoever, but there's something not quite right. I wonder whether or not she might have left a qualifying set on.
Oh, if you're pitting after 2 laps, that's every chance that you forgot to change it. You can see a little bit of a cheeky smile on Mia's face on the screen there. So maybe she's picked up, we've picked up what she's done. Yeah, look, essentially, I think it's a 3-stop race. It mightn't be a big deal, right, tonight. Yeah, we're looking at a 35-minute critical lap time, so that's 35 minutes to go. Yeah, Mia might be saved by that. So Mia might be saved by the fact that she's now on critical time. She's got to go to the end of these fuel tanks, right, for the whole race, but she's still okay. If she's done that mistake, it's just going to make it look like she's well and truly behind everybody. But if she gets a safety car, Scotty, she might be actually well trained. She might get the advantage for us.
She's stopping going, so I'm just wondering. The car's actually, you know what? The car's crowded. I just went and had a look at it. On board, so the reason for that pit stop was damage related. Yeah, the car's absolutely got a little bit of the left to right hand down. That's why she was catch slide, catch slide, catch slide. So that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, the car was crowded. That explains all the wheel work that I was talking about. Was she perhaps involved with Stuart Ellis all the way back when he went wide at front line? So, oh, up and over the curbs. Yeah, that'll do it. Have a look at the front right tyre on that one.
Oh yeah, the front right's pointing well and truly right. So it's all over. Yeah, that's a fast repeat use. Now, hopefully she's changed the tyres, filled the fuel up. Might need, while she's there, you might as well make use of it. So like I said, you're not out of it. In the safety car, you actually might get advantage from it.
Yeah, well, we'll put her a little bit off sequence. We'll keep track with that story as it progresses for now. Meantime, have a look at the orbit drop bear guys working together a little bit up at the point. Having a little bit of a settle in. Dan Yeaman and Owen Coleman still having a crack at each other. And the Mustang of Yeaman will again manage to hang on to this one. But this will be an interesting story to keep an eye on. Cheeky smile from the man who's nicknamed Grumpy Cat over in the Orbit Drop Bear stable. And that came from some commentary work that we did, actually, by the way, I believe. Actually, sorry, it might not have been you that was there at that point in time. But
no, I don't think I was involved in Grumpy Cat.
Either way, he's got the advantage at the moment. I was just keeping an eye on Coleman, made no gain on him. Keep an eye on this Mustang in a straight line. Have a look at the advantage as they come off of this hairpin right here, and then have a look at this Mustang just take off. That's a car in the draft, and the car ahead is pulling away. That's gives you a little bit of a statement as to how those cars are both performing. And that started with the overtake, the double overtake a couple laps ago. Gee whiz, Owen Coleman's good on the brakes. Get it all back.
Yeah, well, Scotty, there's always been a bit of a question mark on the Aston Martin. So, you know, and BOP's being adjusted, and as we've seen tonight, like the top 8 are all on Ford Mustangs. you got to ask yourself, is that just driver or is that car? Anyway, so we're back in on that was 3 wide. Oh.
Up and across the top of the hill, and Matt Webber's going to rejoin the racetrack directly across and in front of Dylan Shepherd. And there's a little bit more that'll go on and be a part of that one. And something else has just happened to Austin Shepherd as well. So this was all at the kickoff before any of this sort of escalated. So keep your eyes on the Porsche. And then everything else that we just witnessed afterwards is in behind it. The safety car's going to be called, so we'll get an opportunity to review these replays. So Webber's there on the inside, just backwards into the wall, and then it's 3 wide up and across the crest of the hill. And that's Dylan Shepherd just getting tangled with as Matt Webber got ricocheted across. It was actually very, very lucky from Matt Webber for it not to make the barriers.
Yeah, that was very unlucky for Dylan Shepherd. I mean, the rest of it were guys driving against each other, but I think for Dylan, he just sort of came across an accident. He had no chance of avoiding, so really, really unlucky there.
Well, he would have known that that car would have spun across his nose, so he knew where it went. It's just where it was going to pop back out the other side, I think he wasn't 100% sure of. And just keeping an update of everything else that's going on. Just keep your eyes on Lordship. So watch where this car goes. Yeah, he knows where it's gone. The only thing that goes through my mind is self-preservation. And Shepherd would have known that that car was going to have to rejoin somewhere.
Always difficult when you're racing, Scott, is. Am I going to get through here? Am I going to get through here? Oh, no, I'm not. Or do I just lift and put on the brakes and then get through and catch up later? Yeah, the red mist of driving, you and I both know that catches a lot of people out. The red mist of driving is push on, push on, push on. Oh, I'm going to take the chance, but bang, and that's what might have happened.
So update as well. Andrew Scott in this black flag speeding on pit lane entry, and we have also missed, in and amongst everything that was happening in the middle of the field, there has been a change for the race lead. Damon Woods has assumed the lead, but there's a very interesting split in terms of the strategy here, because Adam Hughes was the first car to come to pit lane. He's popped back out in 18th spot. Now it is only going to be about 10 minutes worth of fuel gain, and that was that one completed nice and easily. Dean Mackay was trying to shadow the pair of them and keep them honest. So that happened just before the safety car was called. Adam Hughes is the first car to come to pit lane and sits 18th. 10 minutes worth of fuel. Is that worthwhile jumping into pit lane? I would assume so.
I think what we're going to see play out is if the leaders, so Damon, Zach, Dean, can pull out and pull time. 10 minutes worth of fuel is about 7 laps worth of fuel, so that's essentially sort of 5 seconds in the pit stop. I think right now the leaders have got the advantage because they have the ability with clear track to pull out and go forward. Adam Hughes in traffic, if he's got speed, he's going to be held up by traffic. So maybe not yet. That's an advantage. I think if for that to be an advantage, there needs to be another safety car in the race. And you know, I mean, we've seen this before, Scotty. We don't know if there's going to be a safety car, right? So great risk. And you know, if you're not fighting in the top 3, you might as well do something different to get there, right? Because if you do the same as the leaders, you're never going to get there, because you know, you and I both know, you know, the leaders in this race, they're too fast. You're not just going to catch them if you do the same as them. So to catch them out, you've got to try something different. So good on Adam, good on Stefan, good on Mia. She's up there as well. Stu Shaw, Trent Allen, every one of those. Yeah, they're all names that have been pretty high-profile names in not this league. Other leagues you and I have both been involved in, so they're taking a risk, they're getting out there, they're going on a limb, and it may change the fuel strategy at that last pit stop that we talked about with 35 minutes to go, and if it does, then they're going to get advantage from right now. it's just a matter of staying there and see how they go.
Well, for now, ladies and gents, we are going to settle down and get ourselves ready for another restart. This is Dylan Shepherd, currently catching back up with field damage on his car. Sorry, he's actually just taken a wave by, so he has just moved back to onto the lead lap. So a fair bit of damage repair to the front end of the Aston Martin. Safety car has now pulled away, and we will be going green flag at the back end of this lap. So ready for a restart. And we're set for a race restart here. And Damon Woods is going to pull us away as we get to the crest of the last hill and look for a little bit of a launch. 15 minutes into this one, looking for a little bit of tire temperature as we punch on into the first stanza of this race. How is Adam Shoes going to go with cutting his way back through the field on the restart? Did he take a couple tyres as well, just to bank them up, get them out of the way under the safety car? Wasn't a heap of fuel. It was quite a short stop, so you would expect might not have taken them, although one right. Oh, the car spun out, by the way. Nathan Tapp is backwards and into the barriers, unfortunately for him. And there's a rear wing off that car, and that is cold tyres on the restart, catching one driver out.
No, Scotty, we saw that at Watkins Glen, more so with the limited series that cold tyres caught people out, but not so much in the open series. So really surprising tonight to see Nathan have that in the S's. It wasn't even after the S's. I would have expected cold tyres would get people at the end of the S's where they sort of hit that inside curb, come off the outside a bit, maybe get the sand and go on the sand trap. So, yeah, cold tyres really early on. What I noticed from everybody else, quite a subtle restart. I think it was a case of Damon was just sort of, got the restart on the downhill. Everybody else kind of has settled in, and there wasn't really a lot of aggressive overtaking attempts into turn one from the majority of the field. So I think the majority of the field right now is just sort of settling in for the race. They know it's a 2-hour race. This open series, they're a little bit wise, a little bit smarter, and they're getting there.
It was a big moment for Adam Shoes on the run out of turn number one just then as well. He had just a big old moment. This is what happened to the car that was in the barrier. And it's down at the back end of the field. I think it might have been, it wasn't Terry Marsh, it was Nathan Tapp we were talking about. He's had another incident at the moment. Where is he parked up? He's parked up on the inside of turn 6, which you'll see, that's him right there. That's as far as he's managed to go. So it was down through the S's, and now he's parked up here, and this prevents another tricky moment, because there'll be another safety car. That did not take long.
Okay, Scotty, now the real question is, do all of those who didn't pit on the last safety car, do they pit this time? I've got to say, I think we're going to expect them to pit. They're 17 minutes into the race. They're about half tanks. They've kind of got to pit. I mean, like I said earlier, I think it's such a fuel limited race right now, and 35 minutes to go is the fuel limit. You just got to keep topping up, and you don't have to throw tyres, but just keep topping up when you get a chance.
There's confirmation. The front 3, front 5, 7 have all come through. On Coleman's the first taker. We'll come along with Jared Knight. This gets them reasonably into the race. So changes things just again. I wonder, I was kind of expecting Mia Rose to probably come into the pit, because again, she's off on the back foot, out of sequence. Why not grab a little bit of a strategy advantage of some description? Although I think, Stefan McCartan's actually come back into the pits. He would pit in the first cycle, and he's going to come back again.
Okay, I reckon what I'm saying, Scotty, is the top 12 have all stayed out still. So we're talking Damon Woods down to Brad Coates. They've all stayed out. None of them have come in for the pits right now. So that top 12, they are doing, we're going to drive We're going to pit when we need to. We're just going to drive. And I think what we're seeing now, right now in this race, is we're seeing a half the field going, you know what, we're at the back half of the field. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to keep filling up, keep changing tyres. Yeah, they may not change tyres, but we're going to keep filling up and keep getting that fuel, and then let's go and see if we've got an advantage. You know, doing something different may get us to the front. And potentially, Scotty, I think we might see a surprise if we've got half the field on one strategy, half the field on another. We get close to our 35-minute critical lap time, and then we got that half the field that's been running at the back. They're going to put half a fuel tank in, and potentially at a safety car, that might jump a whole lot of spots for someone.
That was the moment that we just saw on that one for Adam Hughes. Remember, I was talking, there was a moment for someone. It was Adam Hughes that had it. It was the run into turn one. Vinny Nguyen was the frog leap car. He managed to get the jump on. So it was Stefan McCartan was the other car making their way through. They just sort of brought Vinny Nguyen up a little bit. So this is right on board from Vinny Nguyen and his McLaren. And he goes through the end of one Mustang, pulls to the inside off Stefan McCartan. A little bit of a draft, see if he can't bring him through. And look at that. Big wobble as he tipped it in, got the curve on the inside. Now, I can also tell you something else I've been monitoring is Dylan Shepherd's progress, because the reason I thought that I'm monitoring his progress is because he's had damage on the front end of that car from the contact with Matt Webber. That car is back to brand spanking new, so he's taken the last couple of cautions to work at damage over time, and a fast repair still up his sleeve. So it was a chunk of damage on that car, but not enough to make him go, yep, I need to eject and take that backup car, if you will.
No, absolutely, Scotty. And you know what? A driver who can think like that and say, you know what, I'm going to use as much pit time as I can, come out, catch up on the safety car, use a bit more pit time and get those repairs done without using that. My car is sincerely, I can't say that word. Yeah, damaged. And we need to click the box. I think Dylan's done a wonderful job, and in the long term we're going to see how it goes. But to not have to use the fast repair, but have a repaired car, good on him. Yeah, and use those two safety cars. That is really smart racing from the back of the field. Yeah, and we see in other series, guys like, Scotty Brett and O'Brien does it in, V8 vets all the time. If he's at the back of the field, he's going in for, extra fuel and things like that. And, they end up with good results. So good on Dylan. Let's see how that goes. There's no doubt on that.
Righto, wave rounds have been completed. We might just have the ability. Safety car's about to pull away from the field, so we are going to be going green flag this time by. Woods will still have control of field. First driver now with fuel on their car all the way up to 13th spot. Sits in behind Brad Coates. No weaving after the safety car has pulled away from the field. We're getting set for another race restart here in the forests of Georgia. And this is a great shot because it just gives you a little bit of a sense of the change in altitude of this place, and there is a lot of it in a short, compact racetrack.
Absolutely. Now, Scotty, next time we have a safety car, and I'm sure we will, remind me about the no weaving, and I want to talk to everybody about what changed from the last round and what we found and what we learned. So back to you for the restart. There is something to just make sure everybody knows.
And field has been released from Damon Woods. He's going to have an absolute crack at these guys and try and pull away. They are corked up at the back as he held them for such a long period of time. Webber's gotten into, and I think it was one of the AITT cars. It's Terry Marsh who's ended up in the barriers. But there's another rear wing gone tumbling on the racetrack off a Mustang. And that's all about where there was a cork in the bottle, and Stefan McCartan's going to get into Matt Webber. Matt Webber is a pinball tonight. He has been bashed around from pillar to post. And Matt Webber is going to get rolling once again. And it's all kicked off in that midfield. But for the meantime, we will stay green. McCartan's been rotated. I think there's a lot of damage on Matt Webber's car. And I think he's already burned his fast repair as well, so that might be him done for the day.
Yeah, very well could be. I mean, you know, if you have use your fast repair and you're back in for another crash, then yep, you're done. And I think we just had confirmation Matt Webber has used his fast repair, so that might be a tough night out for Matty tonight. But Scotty, do we need another safety car straight away?
No, I don't think we necessarily need to. What's going on with Eric Fenson? Why is he parked up there? Something's drastic's gone to him at the final chicane, and his rear wing is now missing. Remember, he was up at the pointy end of the field as well. He's in the top 5.
Yeah.
So something going on there. And he'll have to come back through pit lane for his spare car.
So, all right, let's talk about the race strategy. So right now, 1 minute 35 in, we've had a few safety cars. So extend that 35 minute to about 40 minutes for the first stop. I don't think it's going to stop. I think we're still going to need 3 stops to get in. Oh, there we go. That's Eric Fenson doing himself in, Scotty, having a spin and losing the back wing off the back of the thing and doing the right thing, sitting there waiting for all the cars to come past before he gets himself in the pit lane.
Well, that takes him from the front of the field to the back of the field. Right, yeah, strategy chat. Where are we at, Pete? Because on this one, we're at 15. We've started the 15th lap of the race, and there's a bunch of guys who've just recently pit on about the end of lap 11 with fuel. We are losing laps in the back end of this race at a whole host of knots at the moment. I think we might only get 88 or so out of this one as it stands.
Yeah, I mean, the more safety cars the fuel laps are going to do, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many safety cars we get at the start of the race. We've got 35 minutes. Remember, 35 minutes of green flag running from the 2 hour mark. So come back to 1 hour 25 into this race. That's the critical time for a pit stop. Now, you can come into that pit stop and you can have a full tank to put in, and that's going to take you 22 seconds. If you come in and you only need half of that, it's only going to take you 12, but you can't take tyres, right? So all of those guys, and we're looking at Adam Hughes currently P8, Mia Rose P10, already pitted. Adam in lap 7, me on the first safety car, and we've got a number from Jared Knight down from P14 down that all pitted on the last safety car. They're all going to have less fuel on that last pit stop. So that's the thing. That's the game that we've got playing right now. But you still need track position, Scotty, at some stage in this race.
This is Owen Coleman's car getting away from him into the fence heavily, and that will be his day just about done as well. And I've just seen Ickton Bass get absolutely blocked by Stuart Ellis, and then Stuart Ellis lifted on the straight and let his teammate through. I'm not happy with that. I think we need to go and have a look back at the entry to 10A and 10B on the last lap, because I'm filthy with this. Check this out. Watch this. Gets past, pulls over in front of Ethan Bass. Watch the block. Keep watching here. And then watch how early he brakes. Watch how early. That's not on. That is absolutely, to me, not on. That is tinkering with a race result, and I am unhappy with that.
Okay, Scotty, I would put that down to race manipulation. That's something the racing will probably need to have a look at. Yeah, I mean, that is not pure racing. That is blocking a competitor for a teammate to come through. Yeah, look, there's no team orders stuff in the rules, but there is a paragraph about race manipulation, and that is something that needs to be looked at. Look, essentially, we love having teams in this sport, but even though you're racing against your own teammates, but you're still racing. But to put somebody else out for your own teammate, and to race unfairly, and I actually thought there was an extra move under brakes there to actually block that person. So maybe it's a blocking penalty, maybe it's something else. At worst, it's there is a race manipulation, something to investigate. But I don't think anybody's called that in though.
No, they have. It was more that went into it because there was an exit off of turn 70. I don't know if you saw Ethan Bash's headlights in the middle of that were flashing. So
anyway, we'll come back to great question in the YouTube chat, Scotty. Does the fuel limit also apply to the safety car? Are going to need fuel soon. To be honest, no, it doesn't. The safety car does. Whilst all the other race cars have a 55% fuel limit tonight, the safety car has a 100% fuel limit. So no, it doesn't. But also, every time the safety car comes into the pits after coming out, it does get the refuel and put a new set of tyres on. So no, there's no fuel limit on the safety car.
Here's Ethan Bass. So I said there was more in it, and with contact, so Stuart Ellis has hit him, then running to the edge of the road, and then blocked him. No, not on. Yeah, I think Stuart Ellis is in trouble here. And blocks him all the way to the edge of the road. I wonder, for me, there's probably more in that. Stuart doesn't do that off the cuff, which makes me go, there's probably more in that we haven't seen as well. I mean, the problem is we'd have to go digging for it. That's Owen Coleman rejoining the race, by the way. So he's not done for the day, but is, yeah, in a world of trouble. So either way, we'll settle in. Drama and controversy swirling. Mia Rose having a go at the moment at the rear end of Ethan Bass. And there's been a 25-second penalty added to Matt Webber for contact with car 116, and that would be the entry to turn 1. And here's Mia trying to have a go at Ethan Bass and can't get there. A moment, but she'll look for the switch back, and now Ethan Bass is going to have to cover her as they run out of the last couple of corners. All right, she'll have her hands full up and across the crest of the hill. And at the moment, working hard to keep Ethan Bass honest, and Bass has not got a great run. And now a hole's open to the inside. He's going to squeeze it all the way to the edge of the road. Now he's going to end up on the outside at turn 6 and at turn 7. Rose might have this one complete. He looks for the switch back and the drive out. Rose got great traction off the corner. Did you see that? A little bit of a smile, smirk and a nod of, I think I might have got that one. That's Mia Rose congratulating herself on a job well done, and I think she deserves it.
Mate, that wasn't a smile, smirk and a nod. The teddy bear in the background jumped up and went, yeah, that was such a cool move. How good was that? I mean, Mia was taking it so cool and just driving with such precision. You know, there's very little steering movement there, and that's one of the things you look for race car drivers. If you're all over with the steering wheel, you're doing slow laps. Mia's just doing that so cool and so smoothly. That is so great to watch.
And Ethan's now going to come back at a go at 10-8. Dive at turn 1 as well. Not quite there. No room needed to be left, but Mia slides the car through turn 1. Now it'll come back through, and it'll cost. Matt Arnold's going to get involved as well. Gets down the inside of the run between 2 and 3. Job done for him. So what was looking positive, and it wasn't a move to try and take that position away from Ethan Bass. It forced the unforced error. A little bit of a jink, a little bit of aggression, a little bit of using the rearview mirror, and as you just see her, a little bit of a chat to herself, a breath, but to calm down. Working hard tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Focus, Mia, and you've got this. Got it. Yep, good to go.
Righto, settle into the race. We are already half an hour through this one. Tick the first quarter off. Dan Yeaman up and inside the top 6 at the moment with Adam Hughes quickly starting to track him down. Remember, pit priority as well, strategy priority from Hughes as he drives his way. Mia Rose gets the spot back from Matt Arnold. Now going to have to go chase down and work on Ethan Bass as well. 3 wide just about in the background as Dylan Shepherd trying to overtake a few cars. He's going to pick off Adam Jepson. Now the next car for him is going to be Brad Coates out of the final corner. So after being just about on a trailer, and the way out of here is he gets great drive off at turn 1. Yeah, not far enough up for a dive at turn 3.
Yeah, Scotty, I'm looking at the time now. We're getting now to 35 minutes into the race, but we have had those few safety cars, so I expect that to be extended by a lap or two. So I reckon in about 2 more laps we're going to see the leaders and those who haven't pitted come in. That's where we're now going to see 2 different races now. We're going to have effectively 2 cycles because they're about half and half in these cycles.
I'm just listening in. Some more penalties being handed out, which we'll get an update on in just a few moments. Jared Knight at the moment sitting in 14th spot. He's just got that job done on Adam Jepson. Agus Lawford's looking to try and have a go as well. And in behind these guys is Andrew Scourdillis, who qualified extremely well. He's been on the back foot after a speeding and pit lane penalty under that first safety car. So he's had to come from the rear of the field. Spot picked off for Lawford. He picks off Jepson. And now Scourdillis is going to be the next one who gets there and gets into the rear bar and will rotate him. So Jepson is now skating backwards outside of the final corner. Just finds the fence on the rear end of that car. I think he'll be okay.
I think Adam was very lucky he didn't hit that wall much harder because that rear wing stayed on, so that might be okay. It might just be a little bit of a scratch and away he goes.
Instantly, there's tyre tracks there. Was that from Nathan Tapp when he went on his adventure?
Well, Nathan's just gone on another adventure just recently, so maybe that's what the tyre tracks are from.
So this is Jepson gets died 10A, that's 10B there, and then it's up and out the other side, and a little bit of a tap in the bar. So Adam Jepson will try and keep going at this one, but it'll be with a little bit of damage on the rear end and a bit of a slide and unhappy car. Righto, starting to get closer and closer and closer to pit window time. This will be an overtake for Mia Rose as she finds her way past Ethan Bass, and Ethan outbrakes himself into the chicane. Bit of a slowdown to serve, yields that one and lets it all go. A few drivers up and down the field. You can see Matt Webber's now done for the day. Has left the server and steps aside.
Hey, Scotty, I've just went and had a chat with the AITT guys, and it's really interesting. Just inter-team, right? Brad Coates hasn't yet come in for any of the safety cars, no pit stops. You know, as far as he's concerned, he's on the strategy, he's on the number 1 strategy. You know, and the back runners, you know, they can do what they want. Stewie Shaw, he's about 5 spots behind Brad's. He came in on that last safety car on lap 11. So intellectually, they got no idea what they're doing, which is quite funny. But essentially it's like split it, see where we go, and say, hey Pete, make it sound good. Hey, it sounds cool, and it looks really cool because we got no idea what you're doing, and now we know nobody else does either. So that's really cool. And the fact that they've split it up, but so close together on racetrack, is even better because we can now see and we'll watch how the 2 strategies come across. So good on them for trying something different. I think it's lovely.
Yeah. And a few penalties I can tell you have come and gone. So Nathan Tapp, my apologies, received a 10-second penalty for not holding his brakes earlier on. That was all the way back on lap 10. Incident. Terry Marsh picked up a penalty, no penalties. Matt Webber picked up a 15-second penalty for contact with Stefan McCartan. Andrew Scourdillis has received a penalty for that rotating of Adam Jepson as well. 15-second time penalty just been associated with him. Stewart's still looking at the incident on lap number 16 for car number 219, which was Ethan Bass. And at this point in time, front 3 cars are all coming to pit lane. There goes Sam Sutton as well. I think Dan Yeaman's shot through. He was on a bit of a fuel save. That explains his pace not being quite as quick as the others. And he will shoot through to the race lead. Adam Hughes running his rear bumper. And we're looking at a mixing and matching of the strategies at this point in time. 38 minutes into the race when everyone's come in who hasn't pit for their first stop. Nearly gets us to that 1/3 race distance marker. Do you know what? I actually think these cars might actually be on the preferred strategy at this point in time. If they'd have made 40 minutes, it changes a little bit. But I don't think we've made far enough into the race for them to get home. Another car off into the weeds, and with damages Stuart Shaw. As he's backwards at this point in time, that's at turn 5, so that could be up and across the curbing there. And that is Damon Woods rejoining just in behind Stefan McCartan in 13th spot. That's not traffic on the road, that is 4th position. He will have to overtake Stefan McCartan.
No, Scotty, and yeah, I just jumped out of the chat with Dean Mackay. He was running P3 just before the fuel stops. The fuel stops we've just seen are those cars that have run all of the race without any safety car stops. Let's call that Plan A. And Dean was, yep, I'm on Plan A. Let's see how it goes. That doesn't say he ain't going to change to a Plan B, C, or D with a sort of alternately placed safety car at some stage. But right now it was, I just want to keep running this down. I'm going to go as far as I can in the fuel tank. I'm just going to, minimise my pit stops and then see how we go in the race. But as we're seeing right now, and you just mentioned it, those guys that are sort of out of sync with everybody that's pitting under the safety car, they're going to come out to, and they're going to get themselves into traffic. And the traffic is not lap traffic, so they have to overtake them legitimately. Scotty, you and I both know there are really only 2 spots on this track to overtake. Otherwise, you're taking massive risk. And someone like Damon Woods, who's got speed, is going to be held up because there is actually very few spots to overtake on this track.
Yeah, and now he's already caught Stefan McCartan, so there was definitely no tyres taken for the driver of the number 56 at that first pit stop. Sorry, my apologies, driver of the 25 at that first pit stop. As he chases down Stefan McCartan. That is Stuart Shaw on the inside of the racetrack, letting a few people go after his issues. I can tell you the rear end of that car is looking fairly second-hand at the moment. He might be thinking about the pit stop here in the very near future. Perhaps throwing some fresh tyres at it. In the meantime, Woods thinks about a dive on Stefan McCartan. Doesn't make that one happen, but he would be thinking about progress, and he got good drive off of 10B as well. So this was about setting it up down at turn 1. And McCartan's car looks a touch faster in a straight line, but it's slightly less compliant.
Yeah, but here's where the race smarts really come into it, because essentially Damon's not racing Stefan Woods tonight. Damon is racing Zach Bradway-White, and he's racing Dean Mackay. So he's racing number 17, he's racing number 1. Those 2 cars are still behind him. They've all got to get past Stefan McCartan after the pit stop because they're all in the cycle. Does Stefan recognise that he's not racing Damon tonight, or does Stefan race Damon? Because that is what actually makes a difference in a lot of these races.
Well, at the moment, McCartan's got the advantage, and he's managed to back Damon Woods up a little bit, and Zach Rattray-White. Dean Mackay is making a little bit of advantage in the middle of all this as well. So we'll see if Mackay is able to drive up to these guys whilst they're caught up just a little bit here. Now a little bit of drive in a straight line. And he's going to try and pull alongside of Stefan McCartan on the entry to 10A. Gets down the inside of the chicane. Not complete on the pass. He'll have to go the long way around, but he will complete it out the other side. Traction. Job done for him. What is Rattray-White able to do with the compromised exit of the Ferrari? Not able to get there. He'll look for the run off of the final corner. And he will get to the inside now of Stefan McCartan on the way to turn 1, but the Ferrari's being good. He'll get an elbow off for his troubles. And if you remember all the way back to Watkins Glen, it was getting involved in a few bits and pieces. But I don't think he needed to for Stefan McCartan, but there was an elbow there from Rattray-White, and that might earn him a penalty.
A little bit of an elbow, as long as he left him enough space on track, and it's something we haven't seen quite yet on the broadcast. If there's enough space on track for Stefan, then I think Zach will be fine. But like I was talking about, you've got to know who you're racing, Scotty. I don't think Stefan's racing Damon Woods or Zach or Dean Mackay tonight. He's in there with them on track, but I think Stefan Mackay, he's racing Trent Allen, he's racing Austin Edwards, and he's racing Vinny Newell, right? So these are the guys that are on the same strategy. They're the guys he's racing right now. Damon Woods, Zach Ratway-White and Dean Mackay, they're kind of just a step above Stefan right now in the race and not his race. So is it smart to not hold them up? Because essentially, if you're blocking them, you're slowing yourself down anyway, and then you're slowing or increasing the time it takes for you to get to the checkered flag, which is what racing is about. So this is where race smarts really come into it. And someone like Stefan Smart, he's got a lot of race smarts. I know he's got a lot of race smarts. I think what he did then with Zach Ratway-White is once Damon got past, he didn't really fight Zach. He just let Zach go. And all Zach needed to do was give him that little bit of extra space to come out. And then Stefan can slot him beside, stay with Zach and try to follow them as much as he can. But he's not in that race. Anyway, that's my view.
So, update. Remember we were talking about the issue with Stuart Ellis and Ethan Bass from a couple laps ago? Update for contact, I believe it turns 7 with Ethan Bass and running him wide, has netted 10-second time penalty for Stuart Ellis. Additionally, and put on the record, a warning for car 73 for unsportsmanlike behaviour as well.
Oh, there you go. I don't recall somebody actually reported it, so Scotty, maybe they're listening to us. I've never heard a race control that's listened to a broadcast before, but no, look, it's been picked up, it's been covered, and it's been acted on by race. I think a warning is spot on right now. It's not massive. I've seen other race manipulations that well and truly beyond that. Cars stopping at a time where people are out of cycle for pit and making significant advantage for their teammates. I don't think that's it, but so I think a warning is quite important.
Well, either way, Angus Lawford at the moment, starting to back up Jared Knight just a little bit. Scott Dillis has driven back through to the rear end of these guys as well. And here's the opportunity for all three of them to go to work on each other. This is for third, fourth and fifth on the road as it stands, but will it be these positions on corrected fuel strategy? We have to watch and wait for that one. We are now past 45 minutes into the race. So beyond 1/3 race distance and a little bit of a wiggle as he got into 10A. Jared Knight gets into the bar. They both go wide as they both overshoot. And Scott Dillis is going to sneak through on the pair of them. He'll probably disappear in the sunset now as well.
Yeah, Scotty, so essentially we're looking at about lap 36 for the bulk of those that pitted on the last safety car. I think we've got a few drivers, like Adam Hughes pitted on lap 7, so we're looking at about lap 32 for Adam to pit if he goes long and there's no other safety car. Lap 36 for most of those that are in sort of P2 to P6 at the moment, so that's Dylan Shippert down to Trent Allen. They'll come in about 36. And then we'll see Damon Woods back out the front. How that's going to cycle through the end, I think we're going to really see sort of half tank, no tyres versus full tank tyres at about that critical lap time. That will shape this race. So another safety car, Scotty, that will mix it up completely. And I've got to tell you, that's not something I'm even going to try and predict.
Stephen McCartan's gotten involved in something else. There might even be more contact for him. It's at turn one with Dean Mackay. So check this out, down on the run into turn 1, he's on the shallow line. And that one's going to be 50-50. I did see him back at the hill. Yeah, the reason I say there's more, I saw him backwards at turn 2, 3, but that was due to the tyres just being a little bit cooked and there being grass on the tyres. You watch the rejoin here. Yeah, that's where I caught him. I showed him just up at the crest of the hill. So update for Zach Ratway-White is that he's picked up a 5-second penalty for his contact with Stefan McCartan.
that's a big penalty because Zach's right up with Damon Woods right now, and essentially for Dean Mackay, who was just over, he's 5.4 seconds behind Zach Ratway, right? So for Dean Mackay, that's something that's got to be on his mind. He's now only 0.4 seconds, and he doesn't have to overtake a car. He's only got to get within the time to go from effective, what I think is effective P3 to P2. So that's actually a really, really big penalty for Zach. What do you reckon, Scott?
I think it's about appropriate. There was a little bit of contact in it, and the issue is obviously Stefan's got to be cognizant of what's going on. But the other, he's fighting effectively. He's trying to protect potentially a fuel strategy race for Adam Hughes, and well, at the end of the day, he's racing for his position on the racetrack at the same time. So I don't know. The tricky part for me with Stefan is I'm just sitting there and watching the amount of incidents he's been caught up in over the last few rounds and going, it's all well and good that you're showing up, but really all you're doing is, getting yourself tangled in a lot of stuff that you probably shouldn't be. Dan Yeoman's going to get to his inside as they run down the bottom of 10A and 10B. Alongside at A, will drive it around the outside at 10B if he can. And Ethan Bass is there to creep up on the pair of them as well. But try and go around the outside. Or is he going to back it off a little bit? They'll go side by side through the last corner. This takes bravery. McCartan's car still unsettled. And he will go for a ride through the grass. And we'll see if he holds Stuart Ellis up. I almost expect him to throw the parachute out the window and let Stuart Ellis go by the way this is going.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, going back to the penalty that Zach's got, the only thing I can say is if Zach didn't leave him a car with the space on the outside, because Zach did come on the inside from turn one, if he didn't leave him car space and that made, that made Stefan sort of touch the grass, then bang, yeah, that's a dead set 5-second penalty. Whether they're, because they are racing for position, even though you and I have talked about them out of sync and safety car, but they're racing for position on the track. So that's my view. You've still, if you're going to overtake a car, you still got to let the car stay on the track. And if Zach sort of squeezed him to the point where he didn't have a car width from track one, then yeah, fair 5-second penalty in mind.
Well, OPR have had the bulldozer out tonight. His name's Stefan McCartan, getting in and the elbows out with the other drivers from any other team, and provided you're an OPR car, you get a free pass past the gate to let you into the car park, is the way that I'm feeling about it at the moment. Capel's going to get down the inside, get the job done at turn one. So he will get the job done on Adam Hughes and start to skate on up the road. Dylan Shepherd's just been through the pit lane. I think everyone's going through the pit lane for their second stops at this point in time. And Shepherd's going to get the elbows out. And now Dan Yeaman's actually in a little bit of trouble. So he goes side by side with Stuart Ellis.
Yeah, what we're saying, Scott, is we're seeing those that pitted under the last of the safety cars. They're either this lap or next lap, they are due in. That's about the fuel tank length. So they're going to come in, and then I don't know whether calling Damon the effective race leader is the right thing to do, because we just got to get to that 35-minute point, and the safety car versus hit cycle has got to sort of normalise itself out. So it's really hard to say who's an effective leader right now.
And Ethan Bass will go sailing on down the inside. So I thought it was Dan Yeoman at the start of the lap. It was Ethan Bass, who will pick the spots off. That was Dylan Shepherd on cold tyres. We'll be letting the pair of them through because he's having issues getting those up to temperature.
Oh, something might have happened between Andrew Scordelis and Jared Knight. Both of them are falling through the timing sheets really, really quickly. So I might go and try and see if I can find out what happened there.
This is Scordelis, I think, coming out of the pits as well. And I think he might be on cold tyres at the moment as well. And Stefan McCartan will dive into the pit lane.
Alrighty, so the last of the people that pitted on the safety car is Trent Allen, currently P3, but pit stop due. It has to be this lap. I expect him coming. There we go. So, yeah, speaking on cycle, Trent's in. And yeah, he's going to come out and probably looking at coming out around about with Stefan, about 20 seconds. So yeah, probably about 19th or 20th. So for Trent.
Something's just happened to Andrew Scordilis. He's backwards at the apex of turn 5. And I think that's as a result of... He's done it all on his own. He's in a bad spot. He's managed to get it offline at least. So this is him rejoining. He's on cold tyres. Safety car will get deployed as a result of this one. And you can see why.
Oh, Scotty, that's strange.
Cold tyres. That's cold tyres.
No, that's something else. That's got to be more than cold tyres. Can we watch that again? Can we watch that again? That's
On board shot?
yeah, no, I can't. That is a real snap to the right. So for me, there's something more than just cold tyres for that, Scotty. That is cold tyres for me would have had, you know, a bit of understeer and maybe sort of steering and then a throw, but that was like didn't look. It just seemed to be like a rear lockup that threw the car around. So really strange.
Well, we're going to replay here in just a few moments. In the meantime, well, there it is right on cue. How's that for a little bit of setting up? Comes down through, bounces across. Yeah, that's going to be cold tyres. He 100% took fresh tyres at that last pit stop.
Yeah, wow. Just, yeah. Yep, and here we go. So, Scotty, we've got Angus Lawford stayed out. Jared Knight looks like he stayed out. Austin Edwards stayed out, and Dean Mackay looks to be our effective leader out of all of this cycle. So Dean's had, there we go. Dean Mackay has come in. He's at a 13.9 second stop. Damon Woods 21.2. So
that's tyres.
No, it looks like, yeah, absolutely. I think the difference is Dean's come in fuel only, no tyres. Just about everybody else. No, Sam Sutton has come in fuel only, no tyres. But Damon Woods, Jared Knight, Zach Brett were right. All have taken tyres, and that 10 seconds has made a difference. Obviously, they're going to get that back under safety car, but yeah, track position for Dean Mackay out of that one.
Well, safety car just before the 1 hour marker means that make it SUDSPEED safety car number 3. To this point from Road Atlanta. It's been tricky. It's been difficult to keep the rear tyres underneath some of these cars, particularly on cold tyre restarts. And at this point in time, there'll be an opportunity to take a breather, potentially heat some tyres back up and see how we go.
No, and this is a really interesting time to take a pit stop, Scotty. So for those that haven't, they're probably not going to like it right now, what I'm going to say, because if you're taking a pit stop now, you've only got one left to go for the rest of the race, right? If you haven't taken a pit stop and you're sort of more than about 6 laps into your stint, then you've still got 2 stops to go. Significant disadvantage, 1 stop versus 2 stops. So it's with 1 hour and 3 minutes to go, it's a must pit stop as far as I'm concerned. Anybody who hasn't, I think it's a really big risk. I don't even know if a safety car is going to save them.
So, for the meantime, Dean Mackay is on older tyres. He will launch them and fire them up very quickly on this next restart. Angus Lawford has managed to get his way through to the front at this point in time with a little bit of strategy. He only pit a couple laps earlier, so strategy's playing itself out a little bit of different ways at a whole bunch of different points in time just prior to the hour mark.
Oh, now, Scotty, I was going to say what I had to talk about. So at Watkins Glen, there was some discussion about weaving under safety car. And what we found in the PL rules was the rules were written that said when race control said we were going to restart at the next lap, all of the weaving must stop, and that happened quite early in the lap. Nearly all of the drivers, when the announcement happened, continued to weave. At the announcement that the safety car would move to pit lane and the leader would take control, all but 4 cars stopped weaving. And so in conjunction with race admin, all of the penalties were disbanded for the night, because the difference between the rule and the intent of the rule, like the intent of the rule was to actually allow warming up until the point where the safety car left the field. So the difference between the intent of the rule and the application of the rule, or the writing of the rule and the application of the rule, meant that there was confusion in terms of who got a penalty and who didn't. So all of the penalties for weaving on the safety car in the last round which were null and void, so nobody got a penalty for it. But it's been made clear now, even you can weave up until the point that the safety car is called to pit lane. The point that the safety car is called to pit lane, everybody in the field stops weaving. The leader takes control at 80 kilometres an hour, which is that point that we've just seen right now on the broadcast. Everybody needs to stop weaving. Leader takes control, and then we restart the race after the pit lanes. The safety car is in pit lane. So a little bit of clarity, and to be honest, absolutely that review was a result of a protest, and having been involved in that, my point to the admin and anybody else involved in racing, that's exactly what a protest system is for. Hey, I've been pinged for this. Looks a little bit inconsistent with the rules and things. You have a look at the whole picture and you go, actually, no, it's all not right. Let's make it all a little bit better. So kudos to the league for allowing us to have that system in place. And I think everybody's got it now. Back to you, Scotty. Race about to kick off.
Race restart here for the SUDSPEED GT3 Open Series on behalf of Premier Endurance League as well. Here we go. A little bit of tyre warming on the run down to turn number 1. As we ride on board of Adam Hughes. Who's going to be able to get through on this one? Hughes also fuel only at that last pit stop, because he took tyres a little bit earlier on in the night. And for Dean Mackay, he's had a little bit of a getaway as the guys behind him are on colder tyres and trying to bring them up to temperature. Hughes will have warmer tyres as well. Is this an opportunity for him to get aggressive? So for now, 5th spot on the road. We'll see how well Angus Lawford can do, because this is a really good opportunity for him to lead laps in this series, and he will be taking all of this away. Every opportunity. Mackay immediately pulls alongside, and he'll start to try and get aggressive. We'll see if he can clear him on the run down to 10A, and in fact, Lawford doesn't fight it too much. Rolls out just a little bit. He's looking to make sure that he can keep on with his night from what is great track position at Road Atlanta. Track position that is often very difficult to come by.
Yeah, we've talked about this already, Scotty. There's only a couple of overtaking spots, like genuine overtaking spots, without forcing the point and sending people off track. So to have track position right now for Angus Lawford, and to be honest, mate, he's only 2 laps off the same synchronisation in terms of everybody else for fuel. So that is essentially sort of microseconds in terms of fuel for the pit stop. The last pit stop's got to come. And with only the extra 2 laps, I think he's well within the window for a 1 stop. So that's great move from Angus Lawford to get up there. And
Adam Hughes has had a huge moment out for Nova turn 5. Jumps it as he went rally crossing. I don't think Ford made a rally car. How about Austin Edwards as well, who's come from the rear of the field a lap down? He sits 7th on the road at this point in time. 3 safety cars will do that. It'll create opportunities. And create opportunities it has. That's the moment. Adam Hughes, it didn't look compliant at the turn into turn 5, and then he's just chasing it the whole way out the other side. Trent Allen is driving a Lamborghini, and that comes with risks. And here's another one of those.
Yeah, Lamborghini's a bit heavy in the back end, and cold tyres, push it too hard, brake a little bit late, and Lamborghini does push things. Is that fair to say?
Well, if it's any help to the one Porsche in the field out there tonight, he's doing a great job. After he did do Porsche things, and he recovered. So for Austin Edwards, you have a real undying love and support for being on board of that Porsche. Damon Woods is starting to apply pressure now to Angus Lawford. This will be an interesting little period as well. What can Dean Mackay do with hot rubber here? Can he find some time, or will be fresher up, make some headway? Because at some point in time, he's probably going to put cold tyres on. That is Dylan Shepherd in the background that's going for a wild ride. So that makes 2 OPR cars in 2 laps, and Mia Rose will find the fence. Fast repair already done. That car will be done for the day.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Mia. She was sort of off cycle and then on cycle, and now that's happened. But I don't know. Can we go back? Was that a self-induced fault, or was there a bit of contact coming out of that corner? That's one of those corners where if you hit the curb and hit it wrong, and then touch a bit of the dirt, then yeah, the car spins and gets into that kind of accident, and yeah, it can ruin your night. And yeah, Mia was great to watch. I think she was driving absolutely fantastically. But let's have a look. So coming out of the S's, a little bit right. Yeah, just a little bit too much. Touches the dirt and just upsets the car. Yep. Yeah, didn't cut back on the track, touches the grass, and then, self-induced accident. A little bit too fast. Anyway, that's it. Mia was having a great night up until then. That is Premier Endurance League, Scotty. You know, you've got to be able to drive these cars for 2 hours without making mistakes. And 2 hours is not a short amount of time to be able to drive a race car fast the whole time.
Yes, as Damon was getting the job done on Angus Lawford, so he lines him up, has a crack. Now the next question will be, what does the pace look relative to Dean Mackay? Can he take time out of him? And to give you an update on that, he took 0.004 of a second out of him in last lap. So yes, he did take time, but it wasn't a lot. What is this lap going to look like, though? Dean Mackay has waited for an opportunity to get past these guys all day long. All season long, in fact. And now he is ahead of them. Mia will bring that car to the pit lane. But can he scoot off down the road?
Oh, that's a challenge for Dean. Dean's always been fast, but we know Damon's been super fast.
Here's the block from Shepherd. And remember, Shepherd and Capel had contact back at Silverstone. And it was the last lap of the day. And it ruins Lachlan Capel's finish. Instead, Shepherd's been able to get down the inside. Now, Capel's going to have Austin Edwards to try and contend with. Inside the top 10 for Edwards. He'd be loving life at the moment. Capel's going to try and show him the nose, you would think, on the run of turn 1. Yep, late on the anchors, down the inside. Job done for Capel.
Oh, that's super work from Lockie on the anchors, isn't it, Scotty? I got to tell you, he just went, oh yeah, no, I'm just like, 50 metres later on the brakes, and then, we duck in there and gave him plenty of time in the exit too, or plenty of space in the exit. So great driving from Lockie.
Yep, job done. Now Rattray White will be the next driver to line up and have a crack with Angus Lawford. Again, for Angus Lawford, he's being smart about it. He's fighting spots that he needs to fight. He fights them to the point that he needs to fight them, and he just lets it happen the rest of the time. So for now, Lawford will pull to the side. He's on the podium for now, and I have a feeling Rattray White will make it down the inside, down the other end of the straightaway here. Yeah, job done. Again, Lawford just being smart. Recognises this is not one that he can defend from. Capel's going to have to defend from the Porsche. So after getting the job done, he had to defend a little bit. Dan Yeaman's now going to try and line up the Porsche and have a crack as well. But Ethan Bass, hasn't he been a roving camera for us here tonight? Involved in a fair bit. Bit of a chat. Grumpy Cat's having to think about how things are going down.
I love that. We just we're down nicknamed Dan Yeaman, just Grumpy Cat. So.
No. He's been that way for a fair while. That's not new. That one stuck very, very quickly. You mentioned it one time sometimes. I made a rattlegun noise once in a broadcast, and that nickname stuck for a long time.
That true? Yes, you are. Yes, you have been known as Rattlegun Rankin for quite some time, and look, I've known Dan Yeaman through my experiences in sim for various times, but Scotty, it's only been the last couple of broadcasts that I've heard you call him Grumpy Cat, and look at him on his webcam. I can go, yeah, looks like a grumpy cat. That's kind of cool. I understand, but I don't know what the rest of the story is. So feel free to fill us in. I'm not sure whether Dan wants us to or not. But,
it was a race, I think it might have actually been a Premier race, and he was just so switched on and eyes so far forward and down the racetrack that he just zoned in. And when he zones in, and when he's focused, there's not a crack of a smile, there's not a hint of a smile. You know those times where you just feel you're in the zone? Yeah, when Dan Yeaman's in the zone, he is grumpy cat. Just that pure look. So,
okay, so that's kind of like when I get, annoyed after a crash and somebody hits me out, and I get into that I'm pissed off driving mode. So that's grumpy cat Dan Yeaman. Okay, yeah, I get it. Yep. Yep, good on you, Dan. I've got it 100%. I'm with you, and I feel for you. Scotty hasn't given me my nickname for that sensation, but I now know why you're grumpy cat.
Well, Dean Mackay has been run down by Damon Woods, so tyres are certainly starting to show. We are going to end up with a battle on our hands for the race win at this point in time. Falling a little bit off of the gearbox though is Zach Rattray White, but there'll be an opportunity for these guys to run him down. It'll be a Mustang top 6. First of the Aston Martin sits 7th on the road. I'm curious as to whether or not Capel and Dylan Shepherd can get back next to each other and continue on with their stoush that they've had for the entirety of the year.
Okay, but let's go back 40 minutes, Scotty, and we talked about those that were right off cycle and those that were doing the pit stop. Adam Hughes, P4. He was the leader of those guys that pitted on that third safety car. That was about that mid-first stint. Adam currently running P4. He's now on the same pit cycle. So, it was a short pit stop as per Dean Mackay. Didn't change tyres obviously on the last one, but 5 seconds, 6 seconds shorter pit stop even than Dean. So Adam's gained the advantage from that, and now it's up to him to maintain that for the rest of the race. And as we said, everybody's going to come in for a fairly even pit stop with about 35, sort of 33 minutes to go. So pretty close racing, and I think what we're seeing now is I think we've got an effective race now on what we're seeing on the leaderboard.
Right, so down the back straight away, and as Damon Woods starts to bring the Door Esports machine a touch closer to the rear bumper of Dean Mackay, we are looking as if we're about to get ourselves a race for the lead out on track. And was that better drive off of the final corner? Indeed it was. So for now, Mackay's going to be on the outside, and in fact, there's no defense mounted. Those tyres are definitely second-hand, and Dean is starting to think he might not have made the best choice. But then again, he broke their rhythm. He broke them up a little bit. So on that side of things, it certainly helped him out overall. Does a touch of draft help him? Can he go with Damon Woods? And remember, car 117 is carrying a 5-second time penalty as well.
No, absolutely. And don't forget, Scotty, Dean was behind Zach Rattray White before that last pit cycle. So he didn't just jump one position, he jumped from effectively 3 to P1. So losing one spot now, whether it's tyres or whether it's just driver pace, right? A big difference in 11.1 iRating to 3.6 iRating. These guys all know how to drive really well, but is Damon just that much faster anyway? So Dean's had a great strategy move to get there. And he's jumped Zach right. Zach's still got 1.9 seconds to catch up to Dean, and that could take Zach some time to be able to get there. And we know coming on the last pit stop, I think they're all going to do the same thing. They're probably going to fuel the tyres because it's going to be 20 second plus anyway to get there and get enough fuel. So you might as well take a new set of tyres. I think Dean's a bit of a masterstroke to do what he did.
And Arnold's having a reasonable night as well for the other TriStar racing machine, albeit a little bit of a different manufacturer. And Brad Coates has been in a long-running stoush. These guys have just about been line astern all night long. Jared Knight's going to come back in here and get a piece of this one as well. This is some of the limited series guys having some fun with each other. Knight gets a run, not quite able to take it anywhere and do anything with it. Sorry, my apologies. Only Brad Coates is a limited series driver out of a group in the middle here. So punching above his weight.
Yeah, I think we've got Stuart Shaw, Adam Jepson and that, but they're all a little bit, they're a few seconds behind this group, but you're right, the odd limited series driver, coming in the open, I think it's fantastic because it gives everybody, it gives all the viewers, it gives us a real demonstration of the difference between those that are flying, the aliens of our sport, Scotty. They're the guys that we're watching right now versus, the amateurs of our sport. Like, if I was driving, I wouldn't be just in the limited. I'd be in the Challenger series of limited, right? So,
the challenge.
Yeah, that's it. The challenged driver. I need another category if I'm going to be driving, right? So maybe we'll put that. Yeah, actually, well, let's mention that, right? PEL has a survey. So if you're listening, Premier Endurance League, for every driver in the series, has a survey going on right now. They don't ask whether you need the challenge series, but if you want Pete Baxter to drive, you need to put in the comments, we need an extra challenged driver series, and then Pete might come and be able to have a drive sometime. And one of you guys can commentate and talk absolute rubbish about me like I do. So that's fine. I welcome it, but let's have a bit of fun. So, get on board, answer the survey, and let's help PL go stronger.
If you're available of a Sunday night during GT3 Limited, we're in search for the next Peter Baxter for the commentary box. So the actual Peter Baxter can get behind a steering wheel and be a rolling chicane. Coming to the next series of rolling chicane.
Rolling chicane in postings.
In the meantime, though, a little bit of racing going on. Is this Benson driving back through the field? I believe it is. Ethan Bass and Eric Fenton side by side for 11th spot on the road at the moment. Bass will get to the inside and cover that one off. Eric Fenson's done a cracking job tonight until he didn't, and it's going to be a huge moment for Ethan Bass out the other side of the chicane. Just couldn't put power down, unfortunately, which is going to gift that one the way of Fenson. So that will finally resolve that one between those two. But there has been a fair bit of pace for Eric Fenson in this race. He's been up inside the top 5. He should be quite happy with the performances thus far.
Yeah, look, I mean, I wouldn't knock him back. He's 11th, right? He's one off the top 10 in the Open Series, so he's having a good race, Scotty. You don't be too hard.
Remember, after coming back from a spin, there's a big moment up ahead. A ton of cars. Angus Lawford's lost the rear end of his car. And I think there's contact, and I think it might have been with Austin Edwards as well. I think it's just lost a spot. So he will find a little bit of free air to turn that car around and drive it away from the scene of a huge moment. 45 minutes left on the clock as well. But for Lawford, after being in contention, this is Dylan Shepherd that's in behind him at this point in time. S's up and over the government. Does it on his own, gets out into the grass, and it is Dylan Shepherd that actually makes contact with him, and it was actually the Porsche dodging him to the other side of the road. And for Shepherd, wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, Scotty, I'd say for Angus Lawford, that's the same sort of thing that Mia did. Put the car on the grass, took the grass out of that, and then lost control. Unfortunately for Dylan, as we can see right now in the broadcast, it's cost him the front end of the car, and that's going to cost him some time in downforce. And it's going to cost him more time in repairs and pit stop. So hopefully it doesn't cost Dylan too much. He's a bit of an innocent victim in that, because Angus has sort of lost a little bit of control of his car, got it onto the grass, and then it's flicked back onto Dylan's car. So really, really unfortunate there for Dylan. He was having a really, really great comeback. So after a couple of incidents to start the race, sometimes, Scotty, it's just not your night, is it?
No, unfortunately. And for Shepherd, now, well, he's still got a fast repair, remember, all that we discussed on the safety cars to this point in time. We are going to at least have car 143 run through to the end of the race at the moment, because he will have that fast repair to take at the final pit stop of the night, which is somewhere in the realm. We are scheduled now for about 86 laps to the end of this race. So if you can do 21 on fuel, that means the end of lap 65, you can get home. And that is 12 laps away. I don't think we can get there. I think this is 2 stops in the end of the race.
No, we saw 25 laps with 3 safety cars. So 21 laps. So we're looking at sort of lap 59. Yeah, you might be right, Scotty. We might be just short of one stop at the end of the race. And you know what? That creates all sorts of excitement. As we saw in the limited race, we were 1 or 2 laps short of it. Some people tried to go for it with fuel saving. Some people just went hard. Others went hard without fuel saving, ran out of fuel. So all sorts of things happened on the last race, and 3 or 4 drivers went backwards significantly because they made the right call. So we might be in for quite a bit of a surprise if this stays green the whole time, noting that sort of 25 laps was a fuel tank with safety cars. I think we're about sort of 21, 22 laps without it. So yeah, let's see. We're right on that threshold.
This happened just previously as well. Eric Fenson gets into the 116 machine. Unfortunately, of Austin Edwards, who was inside the top 10, he's no longer inside the top 10. A few spots lost. So potentially something coming his way from that one. By the way, Dean Mackay and Zach Rattray-White both have 5-second penalties coming their way. So this is effectively a duel for position out on the racetrack.
Yeah, it is, but it also puts Adam Hughes effectively in P2.
Mackay's still looking to cover and be a little bit defensive. Trent Allen will make a pit stop. He's short of getting home. He will definitely have one more splash and dash to come, perhaps looking for a touch more grip from that car. It might be a change of tyres that's forced him to pits early. Keep an eye on that one.
So, Scotty, a 5-second penalty that we got in Dean Mackay and Zach Rattray-White. Do you think Adam's got the speed to stay within 5 seconds of both of those cars and take P2?
Well, a lot of racing to come, but potentially. Not confirmed, I don't think.
Well, so here's the thing, right? If Dean and Zach continue to fight each other, they're going to continue to back themselves up for Adam to take P2. If Dean just lets Zach go, and yeah, that's of course that's going to be a self-sacrificing issue for Dean, then Zach might be able to drive away and maintain P2 or keep enough positions to stop Adam from jumping both of them. But Dean and Zach are on different teams, and they both want to get the best result they can get.
Yeah, 100%.
That's an absolute classic, isn't it?
Yeah, well, at the moment, they're only 2 seconds away from clearing Hughes as well. So, on a safety car, they'll be in trouble. Because that 5-second penalty will come back into the equation and really means something. And how much fuel saving is Hughes doing at this point in time? Is he trying to get home on one stop? Because if he does, he wins the race from where he is. That's worthwhile just thinking about. I don't think Damon Woods is going to get home because he just jumped out of the blocks and just went hard from the get-go. Right? There was no discussion on the table about whether or not he was fuel saving, because no was definitely the correct answer from that one. I'm not sure what's going to be a little bit of a run here. Hughes here, not necessarily fuel saving going on. Started to see a few more pit stops coming through as well, as Austin Edwards will dive into the lane.
So that's the first of the pitters, mate. I reckon he's about 5 minutes. I reckon he's 2-3 laps short right now of getting to the end without a safety car. So right now, green flag at the end. Austin Edwards is doing on the pit stop for me.
Yeah, approximately 30 laps from the end of the race at this point in time.
Yep.
Locks him in. So he will jump out of the pits and get rolling once again. By the way, cars that we have lost to this point in time: Andrew Scordelis, Owen Coleman, Matt Webber, Terry Marsh, Rick Provenzali, and Leith McClellan on starter. The only one in the field who was attempting to get in didn't unfortunately go his way. Trent Allen's fallen to 1 lap down with that pit stop that we've just seen from him, and Mia Rose has gotten back out on the racetrack 2 laps down, hoping on 2 more safety cars for her to get to where she needs to be, potentially, and be back in contention after that final stop. But for now, these two are still going at each other and will be for a while. 6-3 to 10th is still a battle as well, which is Lachlan Capel through to Ethan Bass on the timing tower. So Capel, Yeaman, Fence, and Shepherd Bass. Actually, Stuart Ellis is tagged on the back end of that pack as well, so it is a fair few involved in that one. Nathan Tapp's now in. I think Woods might be in at the end of this lap.
Yeah, now the interesting thing, Scotty, is Zach hasn't necessarily put a whole lot of pressure on Dean to overtake. So is Zach fuel saving behind him? Is he using the draft? Is he being able to lift a little bit earlier? Has he been able to fuel save by just sitting behind Dean Mackay, but essentially pressuring Dean Mackay to go faster? Is that something that's going to be a significant advantage for Zach by the time we get through the next pit stops and get towards the end of the race? Would that save coming through another pit lane? Maybe that's where Zach Wright is using some extreme race brains right now, because I got to tell you, I actually expected Zach to be putting pressure on for overtaking, but he's not. I'm not seeing him looking left and right coming in the corners. I'm seeing Zach follow. I'm seeing Zach sit in the draft. I'm seeing him hit the same brake markers. He's close, but there's no real pressure to overtake. So that, to me, is saying that Zach right now, he's driving to the end of the race, not for the position on track right now.
I'll put something else in the back of your mind as well, Pete, for you to have a think about. Just a couple of questions about as well. Is Zach just sitting here and going, putting some pressure on him and trying to overtake is high risk, and I am very likely that he's going to put a fresh set of tyres on at the final stop, which is going to have him come out on cold tyres for the run to the flag, which means that's where I'll get him if I just overcut him at the pit stop. Is that what he's perhaps thinking about? Or alternatively, shorter stops to the end of the race as well are the two ways I beat him. Both are low risk. The team's not running horrible pace, so I can just sit here, cruise, and make a little bit of time. But at the same time, I think Adam Hughes has actually caught over the last couple laps. I think he's actually taken time out of the pair of these guys. So
yeah, absolutely. But we know that these guys, they're all really smart racers, in the top end of this field, and we're just about to hit that 35 minutes to go mark. So we are right on that threshold of, if it's the right timing, we're good to the end of the race. If it's the wrong timing, Scotty, they're going to come in one lap too early, right? And that, you and I can't call that because we don't have their precise numbers. But we're right on that threshold right now where I think we're about to see the last lot of pit stops. If Zach is saving a little bit of fuel, keeps warm tyres, Dean Mackay changes to cold tyres, I think you're right. I think there's overcut potential there, whether it's through the same pit stop at the same time or one lap difference. Because there we go. Zach's just had a good crack at Dean and taken him.
Car 27 to hold position. Something's just happened to Trent Allen. Safety car's going to be triggered. This will trigger the whole field to dive into pit lane, you would assume. And Dean Mackay, I think, missed it. He's gone around again, although the safety car's not picked up the leader.
No, if the safety car's not picked up leader, that means everybody has still got another green lap to get to the end. Not allowed to overtake each other, but they have a green lap. Now, what we saw was Zach Ratray, he came into the pits that lap. He came in the pits just as the safety car was called. So he can get his fuel, change his tyres, he can get out still on a green flag lap and try and get around and try and make position, while the others are effectively a little bit slower under safety car conditions, and we might see Zach Ratray make himself to the front of this. But we're dead set, we're going to see everybody come to the front of the field.
Well,
come through pit.
That Lamborghini not liking the curves. This is live pictures from Damon Woods at the moment. I'm just keeping an eye on the safety car at the moment. He's sitting at the end of pit lane. And that was Trent Allen, my apologies, towing. That is Damon Woods. He had a 5-second lead, so he's getting held up a little bit behind Austin Edwards. He will have a pit stop to do. They're both going to have to come to pit lane, but he's not going to lose that margin. The benefit is, with this safety car, we will definitely get home from here.
No, we will, but Damon Woods would have been held up by maybe tenths, maybe seconds, but he would have been held up on that in-lap, because the one thing he's not allowed to do, he's not allowed to overtake. So if the car in front of him slows down a little bit, he has to slow down too. Dylan Shepherd might get a new front spoiler. That might be good for him. Really good timing. But I think everybody's going to come in, and we're going to be race to the finish. What I really want to know is, does Zach Ratray gain a benefit from what we thought he was doing, which was saving fuel in preliminary up to that, and was his choice to go in as soon as that safety car, at the same time the safety car's called, is that choice going to pay off? And we're about to see that because Zach's about to come onto the front straight, and I haven't seen Damon come out yet.
Rattray White's had an issue in pit lane because... No, sorry, my apologies. He's back ahead of Team Mackay. Something... Oh, no, Mackay went around. My apologies. There we go. That makes sense. Yeah, there you go. Rattray White's popped out ahead. And Damon Woods will again surface as the leader. This is the field sort of shuffling itself out. Shepherd's through. Fresh car, fresh front end for him, so he will be fine at the end of the race, like we said. And Ethan Bass gets inside of the top 10.
So there we go. So Zach Rattray has certainly made the advantage over Dean Mackay. It looks like Dean Mackay's taken 22, so he's on fresh tyres. It looks like Damon Woods, Zachary White, they're all 22 seconds, they're all 21, 22 seconds. Nobody has done a short pit stop, so I would suggest to you, Scotty, that, and we don't know whether they took tyres or not, I would suggest to you that with 20, 21, 22 seconds, everybody's on a fresh set of tyres. The safety car's going to cool down hot tyres anyway, so it's probably a good, smart reason to take good tyres. We now got a 30-minute sprint race to the end.
I want to put something in your head here, Pete. What would happen if you took just left-hand side tyres in? Normally, tricky to bring them up to temperature because the right-hand side tyres do very little work around this track. The left-hand side tyres do a lot of work. And I mean a lot of work around this place. And the right-hand side tyre is going to cool off into the safety car, and you can put some temperature in the left-hand side ones. You'll actually restart with a car that's actually fairly neutral. In terms of
as long as if you work the left-hand tyres enough. I don't know how many people listening have done like alternate tyres. If you get alternate tyres on a GT3 car, the moment you come out of the pits, the steering feels a little bit weird. It might go a little bit jink one way, a little bit the other. It won't sort of feel the same as it has as 4 evenly balanced tyres. But that only lasts for about a lap or a lap and a half. And you can do that lap and a half under safety car now, so you get the balanced tyres. So that's what Scotty's talking about. From the pit stop, Scotty, I don't think we can tell, because essentially, if you're only changing 2 tyres, you only need 15 seconds. You only 12 to 15 seconds to change 2 tyres in GT3. You do need the extra time to change the 4 tyres. So we won't really know if people have changed 2. But to be honest, if you're changing 2 and you've got a safety car warm-up period, you might as well change 4.
Yeah, certainly something to ponder as the SUDSPEED safety car takes another circuit around the track, and an opportunity for us to thank everyone that makes it possible for the Premium Endurance League. SUDSPEED, who are the premium sim racing gloves for sim racers, by sim racers. www.sudspeed.com. Also bringing us the series sponsor as well. And there they are. Have a look. That's the new coloration. That's the Series 2 variants from Mia Rose. She's running down the back straightaway at the moment. Great opportunity to flex. Look at the camera. She knows that she's on camera. Somebody's talking to her in the background at this point in time. The SUDSPEED gloves on her hands. I can tell you that's the second set that they pushed out with new color combinations as well. You can grab some of those online. Also, shout out to Kibby Graphics for branded clothing, car wraps, and your commercial graphics. KibbyGraphics.com.au and the Sim Racing and Focus podcast.
Absolutely, Scott. I wasn't sure whether Mia was listening to some music and tapping on the back of the steering wheel, or was actually doing some mighty quick changes in the car. But I think while we were watching her, she was doing a little bit of either nervous tapping or maybe listening to some Duran drink or something like that. Who knows? Good on you, Mia. Welcome, showcasing the SUDSPEED gloves, and SUDSPEED, absolute great sponsor for the series so far. And to have somebody on the stream wearing them, even better.
Righto. We are getting set for another restart. Damon Woods will have control of the field. Everyone has finalised their pit strategies to the end of the night. 27 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. And Damon Woods is going to go before the final corner. Dean Mackay will try and launch and go with them if he can. How's the tyre temperature? How's the tyre temperature? There's none of it. Mackay's backwards up and across the crest of the hill. It causes the field to scatter as they try and make their way around him. The left-hand side of the car just let go. Cold tyres for sure. Mackay goes tumbling from 3rd spot. He's down to 18th, 19th at the moment. There's more issues on the front straight away as well. I think Adam Jepson's gone around. He'll clout the barrier yet again.
Oh, Scotty, we've seen it before. We saw it in limited. We've got 3 cars who called themselves out just on cold tyres and just maybe pushing themselves too hard, a little bit anxious to get me going. I'll tell you what, that was a great restart from Damon Woods. He picked the precise moment to get there and put everybody under pressure because they had to go through a chicane and then come over the hill and come down the corner at high speed with cold tyres. Massively, really good, smart thinking from somebody who's in the lead of the race. So yeah, all sorts. Are we going to see it on the scope? I don't know. I think everybody's got going against Scotty. So I think the race is going to keep going despite those crashes.
We will get back to green flag racing. I don't think there's any cars that maybe bent enough to worry about it. There's a car in the grass on the straight. And I think that's Ethan Bass yet again. Jesus Christ, he's been in the weeds a number of times tonight. Eric Fenson's going to try and go the long way around at the final chicane. Now Stuart Ellson's going to try and underlap the both of them, and Ethan Bass has just been rotated out of the final couple of corners, up and over the crest of the hill. Gee whiz.
Well, Scotty, and all I'm saying from race control is green. Yeah, everybody's getting going. So I'm sure race control will have to have a big thing to look at all of those incidents. But hey, green. Let's go racing.
Well, they're going to have a fair bit to work through in their final couple of laps of this race. At this rate, there's a whole bunch that have just been called in on lap 63 for them to have a look at. There's so much that's happened in that last lap. It's unbelievable. Eric Fenson is going to see what he can do to the rear bumper of the 2 cars ahead of him. Stuart Ellis and Stefan McCartan all on astern. And then just ahead of them as well, Dylan Shepherd as he runs down the back straight away. Who's going to find a result at the back end of this one? And still, don't forget, 25 minutes to dig yourself out of jail here as well. Jared Knight, something happened to him in that restart. He's back in the pit lane as well.
Yeah, Scotty, it looks like Matty Broom has just put on the YouTube chat, Jared Knight has lost force feedback. So unfortunately for Jared, going well, but sitting in P22 and now just losing time significantly. So anyway, hardware failures, and as you and I both know in sim racing, everything's got to work right to be able to go. It's the equivalent of the 20-cent failure.
Yep, and it is. And opportunities will still be there for the taking. Brad Coates, after a good restart, but a bad run through 1, 2, and 3, is going to go toe-to-toe with the Porsche at this point in time. It looks like 116 has gotten a great drive off the corner and did indeed. Brad Coates did not get a good drive down that back straightaway. He was really struggling to bring those tyres up to temperature. Brad Coates definitely took a set of fresh tyres at the last pit stop.
I'll tell you what, Scotty, there's a name I haven't talked about. So we talked a little bit about Adam Hughes and how he's going, how he made that alternate strategy with the safety car pit stops in the early part of the race, put himself up in P3. We haven't talked about Sam Sutton at all, currently running P4 under pressure from Lockie Capel. You and I both know Lockie Capel's a fast driver. Sam Sutton, come out of nowhere. I don't even remember whether he's in that early stage. Whoa.
Oh no, you were just talking about him. And Sam Sutton's gone up and over the curbing at turn 5. How's that for right on cue? Geez, having a good night. Checks in the mail.
Sam Sutton. Sam Sutton. I don't know what I owe him. That was the worst of the commentator's curse we've ever seen in my life. I'm just sorry, man. No, man, I won't mention your name again.
I can tell you, Lachlan Capel and then Dylan Shepherd will come across each other once more in the dying stages of a race. We'll see.
Yeah, these two have already had a come in together.
Nathan Tapp has had another issue as well. He's parked up on the back straight at this point in time. That'll be his day done. Oh, that's in the fence. At a weird spot.
No, that looks like he's had a bit of an oversteer coming out of the hairpin, run it up a little bit and then parked it in. But got going again, so it won't be a safety car. So we're still green, we're still going to the end. I was just about to say Dylan, Shepherd and Lockie Gable, they've had their race conflicts already tonight, Scotty, and who's this?
Team Mackay. And is that Nathan Tapp? Yeah, that's Nathan Tapp. So that's that car that we just saw that was parked up. And Mackay's on the outside here. They get into each other. And I think Dean Mackay's come across to try and just side draft and pull him back a little bit. That's a weird bit of contact.
Ooh, that's
it's not straight through there either. It does start to kink to the left.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, at that stage at the race, onus is on both drivers to avoid contact. Yeah, that's hard to say whether somebody is at fault or not in that one. I think if you're mid-track, you're not on the edges of the track. I think both cars have room either way. So hard to say a penalty coming in.
Well, yeah, this is going to be interesting. The other race between these two, and fair to say that it's come unstuck the last few times and been next to each other on the road, so it's difficult to take your eyes off it because at any stage it could happen again, particularly late on. Damon Woods has got control of this one from Zach Rattray White. 5 seconds added to Rattray White's time will drop him behind Adam Hughes at the moment, but that's 2.5 seconds very early on in this final stanza. There is still time for that margin to be eked out even further.
I'm too afraid to name another driver, Scotty, after just what happened to Sam Sutton. I'll tell you what, I mean, Dylan and Lockie are racing really well. And again, Stu Ellis just behind them, just 1.5 seconds behind Lockie Capel. Not someone we're focused on a lot tonight in running the, I think it's the Orbit drop bear colours, probably leading for that team. Out and about and running well, so good on Stu. Hopefully I haven't just put the mockers on you, but get in there and good luck for the rest of the race. But Zach Ratwell, the 5-second penalty over him, that puts Adam Hughes in the P2. We talked about Adam being in P2 when he and Dean Mackay were both up there, but Scotty, it looks like it's realistic right now.
Yeah, well, they're back at the point and starting to pull away. They've put another 0.5 second on Adam Hughes as well right now, so that margin is starting to just extend out. It could still be 1 and 2 on the road for those two boys at the front at the moment. 9th and 10th is quite close as well, so that'll be Angus Lawford and Stephen McCartan. And Eric Fenson just had another moment on the curbs on the run down through the hill as well, so. There was Angus Lawford in the background of that shot. It had a wild ride over the turn 5 curbing. A lot of drivers taking risks there tonight, high amount of risks.
Well, Angus already paid the price for taking the risk over that and hitting the grass, so considering they're still doing so, that's a fairly big call.
Just got it back under control. He definitely had the lift to bring that back under control. And then, I can tell you Sam Sutton's just gotten through on Stuart Shaw. So Sutton back to 12th. You're going to have a mistake. You'd rather it happen at the start of the race so you can cut your way back through. This has happened late on in the piece, unfortunately. And I think Brad Coates and Austin Edwards are back to slicing and dicing. Indeed they are, by the way, out of the final corner. They're going to go down the start-finish straight side by side. And I can tell you Brad Coates just completed the pass into turn 1. We'll seal that one back. Dean Mackay's rolling around in their area as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Scotty, 20 minutes to go. Dean Mackay's been up P2. He's 0.1 second. He's really challenging Austin Edwards right now. Where would you see him being able to get to? Do you reckon he'd get back in the top 10? Or maybe up to about P12, looking at the gaps between them right now. But I mean, that's going to take almost an overtake a lap. But yeah, he's obviously had a bit of shock. And then he's got his 5-second penalty to add as well. So yeah, it's going to be a tough night for Dean, I think, at the end of this night.
Well, he's just been handed 15 seconds as well for contact with Nathan Tapp, so there's 20. Unfortunately for the driver of the number 1. For Dean Mackay, he's going to pull out of the slipstream and try and go the long way around. On Austin Edwards, late on the brakes, they will enter the chicane side by side. And given room around the outside of that one means that the Mustang might get the power down. No, they're going to go side by side at the final corner, you know.
That's a hairy area to go side by side, Scott. I don't know about you. I mean, you know, in the challenged driving that I do, I'm lucky to hit the apex of that one and stay within the track on the outside. So to go side by side and keep it full throttle like this, that's pretty insane racing.
Let's put Brad Coates just a little bit of wiggle room as he tries to get back to Vinnie Nguyen. And they're both trying to see if they can make a way past Stu Shaw to finish the race. Trent Allen's back in a pit lane, unfortunately for him. So he's 2 laps down, and I think we'll probably be calling it for the night at this point in time, with 17 or so minutes left on the clock, 16 minutes actually on the clock right now. Margin from Adam Hughes to Zach Ratchway-White's out to about 4 seconds currently as well. So 1 second to find in 15 minutes will mean that he will finish right where he stays. Ratchway-White, there's this paddle pack as well. That's Dean Mackay. Well, Brad Coates has got the overtake done. Shuffles himself to the head of this little pack now in pursuit of Stu Shaw. And Vinnie Nguyen is about to get harangued by Dean Mackay.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's still plenty of racing to go. 15 minutes to go, Scotty. And yeah, we are far from having this race settled. But also, there's still lots of potential because fighting, you know, as you know, fighting through this, you know, fighting through cars on this track is not the easiest thing to do. And yeah, if there's no cooperation, as we see Brad Coates going towards the outside now for another overtake. But you can see, stay on the inside there, and this is what caused him trouble in the incident with Nathan Tapp earlier. So,
well,
Vinnie Nguyen.
Vinnie Nguyen's had a moment, unfortunately. You look away for 2 seconds, normally something does end up happening. Stu Shaw's unfortunately just involved in the middle of it. And yeah, Vinnie Nguyen missed his braking marker by fairway. Check this out. Yeah, he wasn't making that corner.
I'm going to stop talking about drivers, I think, while we're on screen. That's twice in a row. If it happens 3 times in a row, Scotty, you've got the coverage for the rest of the race.
So Eric Fenson's due for a drive-through penalty, which is going to come our way here in just a sec, as he enters pit lane and serves that one.
Yeah, was that a stop and go, or was that?
No, that'll be a drive-through penalty.
Drive-through penalty. So yeah, if it's incident only, it's drive-through penalty. Yeah.
He's in the stall. I think he might be done for the day. Eric Fenson. I've just seen that car go up and on the jacks and come down off the jacks as well. Update in penalty for car number 87, which will go the way of Vinnie Nguyen for that incident on lap 72, which was last time by. They ruled on that one. It was pretty easy, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. I mean, I'll apologise to Vinnie because I was talking about him and another car while they're racing, and that doesn't seem to be the way to go at the moment for anybody on track. So, commentator's curse is in full effect tonight. But anyway, Scotty, great race. Let's not talk about the leaders.
Yeah, I mean, it's been rather easy not to talk about them at this point in time. They've just bolted off into the countryside, and confirmation that margin is now above 5 seconds. So Ratchway-White will finish right where he is for now.
Okay,
So-
now I've got to ask you, Scotty. So Dylan Shepherd's racing a pure silver car. Is that Dylan Shepherd advertising for a team, or Dylan Shepherd just saying, you know what, just racing on my own and go and have fun?
No, I can tell you there's a livery on that car on my screen. It's just late submission to the league. So there was also a car swap for Shepherd as well, because he received, I believe, a rear of the field start for change of, or sorry, I'm seeing disqualifications, the penalty at the moment, for a car swap for him as well. So regardless, I don't know if that's a disqualification from qualifying and therefore a rear of the field start. Although Shepherd did start from the rear of the field, so that would make sense why he did actually have to come from the rear end of the field. So that one makes a lot more sense. That's why he's driven through the field to where he is. And remember, issues early on as well. He has driven back through the field.
So that's a hell of a drive then, to come from a rear grid start to P4, even though with the different cycle of safety cars that we've had. And Dylan has not had a clean race at all. He's been in a couple of incidents through the race. So that's one hell of a drive, Scotty.
Yeah, and most pit stops out of everyone inside the top 10 to boot, when with damage early on.
Yeah, so kudos to Dylan. So no, you did. I just checked my other feed, and yeah, you're right. He is driving another livery. You can feel free to talk about the livery. He's actually driving in the feed. It's just not being picked up in the broadcast tonight, I think.
Righto. Into the final 10 minutes of the race here in just a few minutes' time. Margin for the race lead teetering ever closely to being on that 1 second right now as they make their way through the first sector. Adam Hughes now sits 7 seconds back off the race lead. We'll be happy with the result for him as he started 7th place up into 4th. So reasonable speed being shown. Should tell you what, who else has been on the moves, actually Dan Yeaman as well. Started outside of the top 10. He's driven through to 7th, and Angus Walford plus 11 spots to 8th as well, started 19th.
So really, Scotty, if we exclude the Mustang Cup, then essentially Dylan Shepherd in the Aston Martin, Stuart Ellis in the Mercedes, and Stephen McCartney in the Ferrari, all in the top 10, they've had blinders so far.
Yep, that they have to this point in time. And I wonder whether or not there'll be some aerodynamic changes coming at the end of the season for the GT3 cars, which might be in and around actually that final race of the season too.
Yeah,
Probably a reminder, another opportunity actually to walk us through the final couple of races. Remember, we are racing every week and from here until the 14th of December. So this week we have the Open Series from Road Atlantic. Next time out will be GT3 Limited from Motegi, which will be followed up by GT3 Open from Motegi. That's on the 23rd and 30th of November, respectively. Fuji Speedway will have the GT3 Opens finish out their 6-round championship for the back half of 2025 before the GT3 Limited will finish up on the 14th of December at Fuji Speedway as well. So 2 Japanese tracks left to us to finish the season.
Absolutely. I don't know about you, Scotty, but I really enjoy Motegi. I think it's a fabulous racetrack. I think it's got some really, really good advantages to it, and it's got some really good opportunities. I also enjoy Fuji. I think Fuji has just some fantastic things about it, that, you know, some long straights, some really technical places. So for these cars to finish the series off with Motegi and Fuji, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Really good opportunities to see some great racing. So I'm looking forward to it.
You're the 3rd person this week I've had tell me to actually really like Motegi, and I think all 3 of you need to get your heads checked. So that's what I thought. But anyway, the only good thing to come out of Motegi was the oval, but that's not an operation, unfortunately for us, as Austin Edwards trying to get to the inside of Brad Coates, parks him up on the marbles. We'll see if Coates can get drive out the other side. However, Fuji is a brilliant racetrack. That is completely different.
Yeah, all right. We can beg to differ with 7 minutes to go, but But I just, yeah. Mategi with the big long straights, corners that you can mess the braking, you can come out of fast, lots and lots of wide overtaking, completely different to Road Atlanta. It's got some technical stuff, it's got some S's, it's got everything. It's got everything you need in a race track. It's great. So anyway, let's get back to this race, Scotty. We'll see how we go. Back to you with 7 minutes and 20 seconds to go.
How's this for a tough pill to swallow? Dean Mackay, incident point limit, black flag. He will have to take a transit through the pit lane.
Well, Dean's gone from bloody great to bad to worse, hasn't he? He said, he was up front. He was on a good strategy. He was, he did his pit strategy to get in front, and then it's just all gone sour, and the back end's gone backwards. So maybe he was the first driver to get my curse tonight, or maybe he's the third. And that's got to be an incident limit black flag the way that's happened. And unfortunately, so from what is effectively a podium position for Dean, he's now running back in 15th, and with a drive-through, probably he's only going to lose a spot, I think, from that drive-through, given Stewie Shaw's 3 laps down.
Dan Yeaman just got a wicked ride over those curbs up the exit of turn 3. And that means that Angus Lawford has started tracking down. I wonder whether or not there's just fresher tyres in this for Angus Lawford. And that'll be a check on the rearview mirror, I think, for Dan Yeaman, because it's currently filled with a Project 36 Mustang for him to take a look backwards towards. 6 minutes on the clock as they come off of turn 7 and down the back straightaway. And that was not a good exit for Dan Yeaman. And I reckon those tyres have just about had it on board. The number 85, Orbit Drop Bear Mustang. He blocks him all the way to the edge of the road. He gets there for Lawford now, and they'll go side by side to the chicane. They're going to bang wheels. They're going to bang doors a little bit down the straight. Yeaman later on the brakes. Lawford's going to try and bring it back and try and rotate it underneath him. Can't get the drive out the other side. So Lawford is coming. And Dan Yeaman is in for a stoush to the end of this race.
That was beautiful driving from Dan Yeaman. He laid on the brakes and through that chicane. It was absolutely perfect. Scotty, I was watching Dan on the Zoom feed. Does he even move while he's driving? That was phenomenal. He's coming out of hairpin turns, and he's like moved the steering wheel like a quarter of an inch, and looked up. It's like he's just like, no, what's going on? Somebody's beside me. We're cool as a cucumber, but grumpy cat 100%. But fabulous to watch.
Red coats and an issue for Ethan Bass as he gets turned off the nose. There was also an incident from Porsche as well that's been reported. By the way, worthwhile keeping an eye on this one. I was just about to say, worthwhile checking in with Lachlan Capel, because I don't think Dylan Shepherd got a great exit off of turn 7. Capel's going to pull alongside as they get to the chicane. The Aston first phase of the braking was absolutely supreme, and then Capel pulled it back as they started to bleed off the pedal. Tried to go around the outside, didn't quite get there. 4 minutes and 20 seconds left as we run to the end, and he's going to have to cover to the inside on the run to turn number 1. Capel's going to go the long way round, but there's marbles out there. The grip is starting to run away on the outside. Not able to do it. But Dylan Shepherd is covering and covering and covering. He looks like he's in a little bit of pain at the moment.
Absolutely. That's some of the best driving we've seen all night from Lockie Capel. Not too aggressive that he's made contact, just aggressive enough to keep the pressure on. Nearly there, had a look on the outside, knew there was marbles. Really, really good driving. I love what we're seeing here from Lockie Capel, putting the pressure on Dylan Shepherd. I don't think that pressure's going to go away for the rest of this race, Scotty. I think Lockie's going to sit there and say to Dylan, mate, you've got to keep on your toes, otherwise I'm coming.
Traction starting to come away from these cars as well. Track temp down to 22 degrees Celsius means we're starting to see faster laps that we've seen just about all day. And at the moment for these two, a little bit of a gain in a straight line. Watch this Aston surge under the initial part of brakes, and then the Mustang just pegs it back. It's that second phase of braking.
Look at that. But kudos to Dylan Shepherd, mate. He's been able to draw something that's not a Ford Mustang up into P4. And yeah, Lockie's been pressuring the whole time, but Dylan is driving absolutely fabulously and he's up, 23 positions for this race, having started rear greeted with a car change. So, from changing, I don't know what he changed from. I don't remember what Dylan was driving last round, Scotty. If you do, please shout out. But to change to the Aston, and you and I have talked about the Aston, hasn't necessarily been the best or the fastest car, but quite a well balanced car. To change to the Aston and then get back up into to P4 and be running there with the likes of Lockie Capel, that's absolutely a fabulous drive from Dylan.
Yeah, well, for the moment, he's in a really, really good spot. Whether or not he can hang on to this one, though, remains to be seen. I'm actually just taking a quick look and seeing whether or not I can grab that previous car for Shepherd as well for you. So just give me 2 moments and I'll have it.
Are you doing that, Cassati? It looks like leaders have recently passed the start-finish line. I think we're going to have 2 laps to go. I think we're going to have this one plus 1 more. Given when everybody took the fuel stop, I've got to say, pretty safe for those that have pitted on those laps. I think we're not going to see anybody run out of fuel, which would be a good thing for a change. It might be a change for PEL because I think about every round we've had somebody run out of fuel. But yeah, Damon Wood's out the front there, 2 seconds. Zach Ratro carrying a 5-second penalty, but 14 seconds ahead of Zach, Adam Hughes. So he's pretty much got that 5 seconds covered. And then we've got Adam Hughes in P3 running in the number 95, well ahead of Dylan Shepherd. So fairly settled, top 3, couple of laps to go, Scotty.
Well, I can tell you, I just went back digging. We haven't seen Dylan Shepherd since the opening round. He was on board the Mercedes at that point in time. So, for now, 48 seconds left, and that means it is time for the white flag to be waved. There will be 1 more lap at the conclusion of this one after 2 hours from Road Atlanta, after 4 safety cars, and there's a battle on still for 4th and 5th spot. And just about elbows and bumps traded. They were both deep as they got in there into 10A. They both ran a little bit wide. It's on a little bit further back, and Yeaman might finally have had to put up his own white flag in the battle with Angus Lawford as they get their white flag. 1 more lap left to run. Damon Woods made a mistake on the final lap. Margin falls back underneath half a second. 84 laps from Road Atlanta is going to be the distance after multiple SUDSPEED safety car interventions. And it's still going to be the same pairing at the front of the field because no one has been able to challenge them. Mackay got in front of them tonight, and it did not matter.
No, but it was mistakes, Scotty. It was mistakes that changed the night for everybody. Damon's had a clear one. Zach hasn't had a mistake-free night, and he's had a 5-second penalty, so even if he jumps in front, but I don't think he will tonight.
Something's just happened to Adam Hughes. He's just dropped off the podium. Adam Hughes is out of fuel. The car is coughing, spluttering, and dying. So he must have calculated for 83 laps worth of fuel, and that extra lap has killed him. It's going to cruel him. Yeah, it is completely and utterly up. So Shepherd's going to skate on through. He'll pick up P3 in that battle with Capel.
He's got to get over the hill and he might be able to roll down and sort of still pick up.
Is he going to make the top of the hill?
He's got to get to the hill. He's got to get the hill. Clutch it, and make it. Clutch it.
Car's off.
Let gravity do the work. Stay on track, Adam.
Well, actually, he's probably better off taking the pit lane entry, to be honest with you. Shorter. But no, he's going to make the end now. It'll just be whether or not he will maintain ahead. He's fallen from 3rd to 12th. No, to my apologies, to 11th on the final lap, just ahead of Austin Edwards.
Oh, wow, Scotty, I just talked about nobody running out of fuel. Oh, what a race it's been.
Well, Adrian Gretsch will be very happy because he's now no longer the most recent person to run out of fuel in the final lap.
No, Adrian, you are off the hook. It's now Adam Hughes.
So, that one gets done. It's Damon Woods from Zach Rattray White. 5-second time penalty to come the way of car number 17. Means that he will finish P2 after issues for Adam Hughes in that final run. Well, that explains Hughes' pace as well. So, final results coming our way. means that Damon Woods takes it by less than half a second over Zach Rattray-White. Dylan Shepherd will be the advantage over Lachlan Capel, home in P3 and P4. Stuart Ellis will come home. He'll actually pick up a 10-second time penalty, by the way, which will drop him in behind Sam Sutton, so he'll come back home at 8th. Angus Lawford and Daniel Yeaman and Sam Sutton all get promoted one spot to 5th, 6th and 7th, respectively. Good little fight between Lawford and Yeaman in the dying behaviour of that one. The dying end of that one. I was just taking a quick look. Angus Lawford's name popped up on the race control sheet as well, but no penalties were actually awarded in that one. Running us back to the back end of the top 10 was Stefan McCartan from Matt Arnold. Adam Hughes will cross the line in 11th, just ahead of Austin Edwards, who was off the lead lap early, drove back through. Ethan Bass and Dean Mackay both got boxed a little bit in the final stages of that one, as did Brad Coates, last car home on the lead lap. Final car running, Vinnie Nguyen, and from here we get into the retirement. Stuart Shaw, Eric Fenson, Trent Allen, Nathan Tapp, 17 laps down to 20th. Mia Rose, 19 down. Adam Jepson. There's a bunch of cars all retired about the same time. Jared Knight was from a loss of force feedback. Scordillis and Coleman early on. Matt Webber from Terry Marsh also very early on. Rick Provenzali only made his way through about 2 or 3 laps, I believe, and then he was out for the day. And then Leif McClomont never actually taking the start of that race.
Yeah, absolutely, Scotty. What a race, hey? And I got to say, all you need to do is stay in the race and you're in the top 20. And this kind of field, if you get a top 20, that's a kind of a good result. But you're right. Ricky Provenzali was out before I even got into commentary. So that was a shocker for Ricky tonight. I think it was just hard failure. But unfortunately, that stuff does sort of happen for everybody. But yeah, a lot of people jumped out and that's use your fast repair and have another crash, then you're pretty much gone. And for Eric Fenson down, really, really difficult results to take. But I tell you what, shout out absolute Dylan Shepherd. Let's bring him in now. Let's have a chat with him, because I've got to say, I've got to ask him about coming from the rear grid and get through. That's an absolute fabulous drive.
Yeah, we'll get the opportunity to chat to the driver of the 143 Aston Martin. Car change on the books after round 1 for Shepherd. And that meant the drive from the rear end of the field, brother, and a lot of dramas early on with a lot of damage to the front of that car. I'll tell you what, how many front ends have you guys got down there for the Aston Martin? Because I think it's a good thing it's a sim racing car. Otherwise, there would have been a fairly hefty damage bill.
Yeah, no, 100%. Just getting caught up with some incidents that weren't really anything to do with me, just people running wide and spinning out in front of me. Car had good pace. OPR pit crew could replace a front bar pretty quick. So, yeah, to come from a lap down, trying to take the first one, to come from a lap down back to the podium, it's pretty cool. But, a bit of an upset for Hughesy. I feel bad for that bloke. He did everything right tonight and just fell short.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, Shep, Scotty and I have talked about the Aston Martin, about what it does and what it doesn't do in terms of being quite a balanced car. What made you change to the Aston from the Merc?
Look, I'm not in the championship this season. I never was going to be with the real world schedule. I've been enjoying the Aston a lot over the last season. I've been racing it pretty competitively in some other series, and some of them are ramping up, so I need a lot of seat time in it. So I thought no better way to be in one of the most competitive fields here and do some more laps in it.
That's a fantastic reason, Scotty. I got to say, I got nothing. And in fact, it's almost convinced me to go and buy the Aston and drive it myself.
2 races left to go here, Shep, and Motegi and Fuji. I think the horsepower of that Aston is going to come in clutch. At Fuji, it'll be a car you can get the car to handle through the middle of the lap, but confidence level heading into Motegi. Will you be with us in a couple of weeks' time?
I'll have to double check with the schedule. I'm not sure if it clashes with Adelaide maybe, but look, hopefully if I'm free, I'm there. I love the series. I love coming back. Love the competition. Love the broadcast. It's fantastic.
Mate, by the way, I've got an update for you. This is about the best. I've been doing some rapid Googling, trying to see what I can do for you. Carbon fiber front bumper splitter lips for an Aston Martin DBS, not the GT3 version, about $1,800 US. There you go. So not too bad. I think the race going ones are somewhere in the realm of $2,000 to $5,000. So,
Yeah.
where's that
not on. Knowing what I know with the GT3 world, I wouldn't be surprised if one of these things are upwards of the 20-30 grand Australian.
Absolutely.
Mate, congratulations. Who would you like to give a thank you and a shout out to?
A massive thanks to all the boys at OPR. It's their efforts that up the front, the amount of laps they do and development they've put into themselves. And yeah, all our sponsors, Gym Rigs, Palmerston Bakery, Distraction Sim Supply, DSM Painting, and Ground to Earth. Without them, I wouldn't be able to put so many front bars on the Aston.
Mate, better get your nose back to the grindstone to go and earn the money to pay for those front bumpers, hey? We'll leave you with it.
Cheers, boys. Have a good one.
Well,
Good on you,
he
Shep.
makes his way out of P3 after coming from the rear end of the field in the Aston Martin. We'll take one step further forward in terms of the podium, and speaking to Zach Rattray White, car number 17. Mustang, pretty powerful in and around here at Road Atlanta, but Walden, will you come back through the field? There was such a mix of strategies there tonight that that one was kind of tough to put a finger on until we had that safety car right in the middle of the race there.
Yeah, I don't think our strategy was too bad, even though the OPR cars did pit pretty early to get a bit of fuel in them. But look, I think the main problem for me was the penalty. That car was, I think that is probably the best car I've ever driven out of anything, and I think Damo might say the same thing. So at the end of the race, it didn't really make too much of a difference what the penalty was. I think we got the gap in the end.
Yeah, certainly, at least with the miscalculation of fuel from Adam Hughes there as well. Where would you rate this racetrack in terms of fun to drive around? Because it's bumpy, it's up and down. Spotting apexes is difficult, and it's busy as well. I think it's a fun little lap, actually.
Yeah, look, I might get flamed for saying this, but it's probably on the lower list of tracks I actually like.
Get out.
I know.
You're done.
I knew it was going to happen, but...
Thank you, Zach. Great
No,
job.
wait, Zach.
However,
Wait, no, Zach, before you go, I need to know what you think of Matagi, right? Because Scotty and I have had this discussion, and you can say what you want about Road Atlanta, but giving your judgment on Matagi, and that's going to either keep you or leave you from this interview.
I'm going to say I like Motegi.
Yeah, there you go, Scotty Higgins, mate.
But no, I was saying to Damo that the way that the car was and how good it was just made the track redundant, and how much I liked it. It was just fun. I actually liked driving here for once. So, yeah, I mean, I got flamed a little bit for saying that, but yeah, it was fun. I did actually enjoy that.
You and I are recording an interview tomorrow night. You haven't been flamed yet. You wait.
I know, it's coming.
I hope your teammate hasn't spoiled it for you. Anyway, brother, who would you like to give a thank you and a shout out to for getting it done here tonight?
Damo. All the credit goes to Damo. That was, yeah, like I said, the best car I've ever driven out of supercar, sprint car, anything. That was just magic. So, yeah, all credit goes to him.
Mate, congratulations on getting it done here tonight. P2 from Road Atlanta, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time for Motegi.
Sweet as. Catch you then.
Righto, we're going to step through to the top end of the podium. Driver the number 25 car, the Dora Esports colours back on the Mustang, and feeling pretty as well, Damon.
Yeah, mate. It was a pretty good night. Pretty good. I was on rails, as Zach was saying in his interview. It was pretty handy. We had a set off the back of IMSA Esports, which was round one. So round one at Road Atlanta. So yeah, there was at least 40 hours worth of setup work into that car, which made tonight an absolute blast. You know, the thing was on rails pretty much from lap one, and yeah, could smash out laps pretty easily and just get into a rhythm.
Mate, look, your teammate is banned from all future interviews about his comments about this racetrack. And we were about to decide whether or not we ever speak to you again as well. But what are your thoughts on the trickiness and just the fun elements of driving around at Road Atlanta?
When the race car is driving like that, I love it. But when the car's a little bit off, I mean, I will say it's probably one of my worst tracks. So when it's not going right, I'm not a big fan. But when it's going right, like tonight was, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the track. So it sits in a bit of a middle state, depending on how quick the car is, really. But yeah, I mean, I think it's still a pretty decent track. It's good fun. But I think that there are some slightly better tracks out there.
In terms of things, we're off to Motegi, 2 Japanese tracks to finish out the year here, Motegi and Fuji. Preference level heading into those ones?
Motegi is a little track that I've done some amount of laps on with IVRA. But I mean, Fuji, I'm a big fan of Fuji. I put it on pole there for the Fuji 8-hour last year, so if we can get a good dock going, we should be in good form as well there. So I think we should be able to finish this season off pretty strong.
Mate, finally, congratulations. Who would you like to give a thank you and a shout out to here for the race here tonight?
The team at the Race Sports, they put in a lot of work for this setup specifically, obviously for a different championship, but big thanks to them. Zach as well for being my little buddy during the race. And obviously PL and the whole crew for putting on the event, so thank you.
Mate, congratulations on another race win, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time when it'll be back-to-back from the Japanese circuits to finish out the championship. That's it. We are off to Motegi in 2 weeks' time for the Open Series, but next weekend, the Limited Series for Dash Off-Road will be back for its second to last race of the season. Twin Ring Motegi, and I believe we'll be doing the entirety of the GP layout for that one as well, not the short, sharp East circuit, which we've done most recently from Premier Endurance League. So next Sunday night from 7:55 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, join us for that one, and then this one in 2 weeks' time from the 30th of November from the Twin Ring Motegi. But Pete, that was fun. I had fun tonight. The race was interesting tonight, and thanks for joining me.
That was heaps of fun. But I'll tell you what, those interviews just proved to me, nothing beats time in reconnaissance. 40 hours of development on a car, and it made those 2 cars super slick and on rail. So, yeah, that just proved time in the car, time in the sim, time in development, and these guys are on top. So, yeah, you got to drive and you got to work on it to be able to be good in this sport. And Damon and Zach have just shown everybody up. And I know Dean gave him a bit of a run up for half the race, but yeah, good on the guys. Congratulations to everybody and the podium, all the finishes. Really enjoyable race to be a part of. I'm really looking forward to Motegi far more than Scotty. I really enjoy the track. I think it's a fabulous track to have races at. Some really good opportunities. And I have that for my own reasons. Scotty, they're yours, but we'll see you there, mate.
That we will. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to sign this one off here tonight for the SUDSPEED GT3 Open Series for Premier Endurance League. We'll see you again next weekend.